Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Umineko. We've started part 2, and it seems like we're either in a prologue or the entire arc is a prologue. Either way, let's enjoy ourselves. Shannon's kind of tempted by the witch Beatrice to, what I assume is free her from her prison or release her powers in exchange for getting with George. And it's one of those weird deals where, at least according to Beatrice, who we don't actually know how knowledgeable Beatrice is. She claims that the person George is going to marry will be perfect for him. But on the other hand, Shannon, she could pull some strings and make it so Shannon marries George, which is kind of funny. Like, someone your crush will be happy with. Do you want your crush to be with yourself or someone that's perfect for them? Aha. Flow tanks are supposed to be meditative. Okay. You wear earplugs, protecting your ear canals from the salt, and your senses disengaged. It's meant to be meditative. Interesting. That might be nice. I don't know how long I'd want to do that for, but it's an interesting idea to try. It'd be like something to try once. And then make a determination as to whether or not I'd like it or not. Alright, as Shannon happily watered the flower beds in the garden, she sensed someone's presence. She turned around, thinking if one of the family had come to visit, she must greet them. But what she saw was the witch.
Beatrice-sama.
Beatrice-sama. Been some time. How are you? Has your relationship with the one you love progressed since we last met? As Beatrice sat on the rose arch, she happily blew on her pipe. Sitting in a place like that would crush the roses. And it might have been dangerous if the arch fell over, but this was a witch after all. Okay, I was sitting there for a minute thinking, like, is she sitting on, like, the arch? Like one of those arches that goes above a walking path? Is that what they're trying to make me envision? But, yeah, that is. Okay. Beatrice. I don't know what's in her pipe. It's probably probably some incense. I would say tobacco, but who knows. Showing concern for her safety was probably a waste of time. Yes. Thanks to you, it's going smoothly. It's weird, she's getting lit constantly. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe it's a hallucinogen. Maybe it's opium. Who knows? Naturally, the effects of my magic are immediate. Perhaps you feel your meeting was a predetermined fate. However, that's a mistake. Don't even think fate has anything to do with it. I wouldn't put it past a witch to use a hallucinogen in the pipe to distract people. And she's just holding it around because she wants to look cool. But that's how people see all the trippy shit around her. I understand that. The witch was calling attention to something. Two things, actually. First, that Shannon's relationship with George was a fate that'd be absolutely impossible under normal circumstances. And second was the power of the witch was great enough to overturn that fact. Shannon had just gotten wrapped up in those sweet days and had started believing the illusion that all fate revolved around her. But she remembered the witch's words. Originally, her relationship with George had been impossible. Or might be impossible in the future as well. Sorry, please forgive me. I feel sorry for, what's his face? Kinzo, who's like, he wants to see Beatrice, and then meanwhile Shannon's hanging with Beatrice like every once in a while. I've seen her twice in like a year. So please forgive me. It's just like doctors. You cling to them when you're worried about your health, but after you're healed, you forget even to thank them. I've never been thanked as a witch, so I couldn't help acting a little rude. Forgive me. The gratitude I feel has never slipped my mind. Beatrice-sama
幸せな思いができていること。
Thanks to you, I was able to achieve happiness, Beatrice-sama.
そして
With
そのお力がなければ私とジョージ様が寄り添う運命がなかったこと。
Without that power, the fate that brought me and George-sama together would never have happened. Alright,
決
that's
して
good.
忘れたことはありません。
You've not forgotten that. Well, that's good.
すまぬすまぬ。
Are you
いじめに
sorry?
来たわけではないのに
You
な。
didn't come here to bully us? Oh, okay. Well, that's nice. Thanks,
口が悪いのは
Beatrice.
わらわが勝負。
Being rude is just part of your personality? Yeah, we kind of
許
noticed
さ
that.
れよ。
We've had like 3 or 4 conversations with her in the post-credits, so I get that. You're looking for human reasoning? You haven't given into magic? Good, good. Let's see how far you can get. We need the standard laugh. This game is... Yeah, we could probably add that. A couple of redeems seems fair. We only have one laugh right now, and it's that laugh.
それより、
More
聞い
importantly,
たぞ聞いたぞ。
I heard. Oh,
二人きりで旅行に行ったとな。
you went on a trip all alone?
さぞや楽しかったであろう。
Must have been quite fun.
はい、
Yes,
とても楽しかったです。
it was very fun. Shannon's face suddenly lit up. The witch laughed lightly as though amused by the speed of that transformation.
ふんもはやそなたの思い人は一方的に思うだけの存在ではない。
Already the one you care for is more than the object of one-sided love. I like how, now that the mirror's broken, Beatrice is planning on killing everyone. Grimhilder could honestly fit in with the witches here. Possibly. She's pretty crazy. She's pretty crazy, though.
互いに思い思われる恋
You're a
人
pair
同
of
士。
lovers now.
愛に満たされた二人にとって世界はただそれだけ
The
で成
classic
立
plan
する。
of the witch, right? It's like, well, if you do this for me, you know, nothing bad's gonna happen. I'll grant you this. And then she grant it, and she's like, perfect. Now I can kill everyone. It's just gonna be a little bit slow. Gotta set everything up, right? When two people are filled with love, nothing else is needed to establish a complete world. A complete world, simply two people and their obsession. Interesting.
素晴らしき理想の世界かな。
Perhaps you could call it a wonderful ideal world.
魔女も夜行というもの。
Even witches would be jealous. Oh. Beatrice laughed pleasantly. That smile made her look as though she blessed the lovers' rendezvous from the bottom of her heart without a trace of malice. And after that day, Beatrice had shown herself before Shannon every once in a while. I feel so sorry for Kinzo. He's like, he wants to see her again just once. And she's showing up like every other day. Even her design fits into Umineko. True, she is wearing like 18th century outfit. Or maybe a Victorian era. Yeah, at least her first couple ascensions. It looks pretty good. Even now, Shannon thought of her as an unsettling being. However, she was also indebted to this person for the magic that led to her current relationship with George. So Shannon tried with all her might not to act surprised or scared.
そうだった。
That's right.
ベアトリーチェ様、
Beatrice-sama,
旅行のお土産にお菓子を買ってきたんです。
I bought some sweets as a souvenir from our trip.
よかったらベアトリーチェ様もいか
Would you
が
like
でしょ
to
うか。
try some too?
ほう、魔女に土産とな。
A souvenir for a witch. It seemed even a witch who boasted of living for 1,000 years hadn't imagined she'd receive a souvenir from a sweet lover's trip. When she saw the surprised expression, Shannon thought of this witch as a friend for the first time. That's not a great idea, Shannon. She randomly murdered you in the previous arc. Oh, she might do it this arc again, too. Oh, boy. Maybe someone else broke the mirror in the previous arc, who knows?
ほうほう。ラードと小麦粉で作った東洋クッキーか。
An Eastern cookie made from wheat flour and lye?
それを西洋風にチョコで包むとは、まさに和洋折衷、菓子のシルクロードよ
And
の。
to wrap it in Western chocolates, truly a blending of the Japanese and Western styles, the Silk Road of sweets. What?
何がおかしい？
That's so funny. Nothing.
いえ、
Nothing.
失礼いたしました。
My apology. This witch, who surely held a terrifying power, was chomping down on sweets one after another, making a sound like a squirrel stuffing walnuts into his mouth. Well, that's not very polite, Beatrice. Beatrice? Goodness, getting her name right's hard. I gotta make an effort to get her name right. After a while, Shannon couldn't conceal her laugh.
しそうになったぞ。
A good meal, all sweets.
そなたには今度ネロのドルチェビータでも振る舞おうぞ。
I should serve you some dolce vita from Nero one of these
バ
days.
ラは永遠の愛の象徴。
Roses are the symbol of eternal love. Nero knows
今
that.
のそなたにはバラのドルチェこそがふさわしか
I
ろう。
believe a rose dolce would be appropriate for you now. The witch was in a great mood, fully enjoying modern candy.
これ、本当にありがとうございました。
I'm grateful.
もう私には十分だと思いますので、お返しします。
I believe you've done more than enough for me already, so I'm returning this. The thing Shannon softly set on the table was a gold-colored butterfly brooch.
返さずともよい。
Oh, there's no need to return
そ
it.
れに持ち続けていれば二人の仲はこれからも永遠に盤石であろう
If
が。
you continue holding it, your relationship will remain firm in perpetuity.
出会いのきっかけは、確かに魔法の力で与えてもらったかもしれません。
Maybe it was the power of magic that brought us
でも
together.
その出会いを永遠のものにする努力は、二人で協力し合って続
I
けてい
think
くも
only
の
the
だ
two
と
of
思
us
います。
working together can turn that into something that lasts forever.
うん愛もバラと同じか。
Love and roses are
過
the
ぎた
same.
世日は根を腐らせる。
Too much fertilizer causes the roots to
苦労
rot,
せねば育めぬ花もある。
and some flowers can't be raised without hard
な
work.
らば好きにするがよい。
In that case, do as you
身
wish.
につけず宝石箱の中にしまうもよかろ
You
う。
may wear it or keep it in a box.
それはそなた
It's
に
my
贈ったわら
goodwill
わの
given to you. Oh, that's very nice, Beatrice.
それを返されてはわらわも愉快ではない。
Having you returned it to me won't please me at all. My
申し訳ござ
apologies.
いません。
Yeah, I think she was just being polite there and thought it was just like the magic imbued and it was changing
そういう
things.
意味で言ったわけじゃ。
That's not what I... Sayo deserves head pats, yes. Just Sayo deserves head pats.
気
She's
を害し
adorable.
てなどおらぬ。
But she's maybe screwed up here. No harm's been
その
done.
ブローチはすでにそなたのもの。
The brooch is already yours.
わらわとの友情の証にせいぜい大事にしてくれれば
If you treasure that
少しは
proof of our
気も
friendship, it
慰め
would indeed bring me some comfort.
持ち続けそのご利益を得る
Hold
も
on
よし
to it and gain its
宝
benefits,
石
or
箱に
keep
し
it
ま
in
い
a
込む
box.
もよし望むなら恋路に悩む別の者に譲ろうと
If you wish, you may even give it to another who's worrying about love.
ただ大事にしてくれ
Or
れ
you
ば
could
よ
simply
い
treasure
さ
it.
すがに粗末にされては心が痛
It
む
would
で
pain my heart if you wasted it. According to Beatrice, she'd appeared several times in the past in response to a person's summons to give them some tool imbued with magical power. Beatrice is slapping me. Ow! Freaking ghost, man. However, when most people used the power to resolve their worries, they quickly grew unsettled by it, forgot their former gratitude, and threw away the tools they'd been given with disgust.
だからわらわの行為に素直に
Quite
感
rare
謝
for me
さ
to
れ
be
た
thanked
試
for
し
my
は多
goodwill.
くない
I mean, if you do something, if someone does something for you, it's only appropriate to thank them.
いや初めてか
This might even be the first time. The first time, you say. Interesting. The witch laughed heartily, but it looked like a sad laugh in Shannon's eyes. She herself had been like that in the past, or maybe was still like that now. Beatrice was definitely a witch with a strange and terrifying power. Most people probably wouldn't want to stick around her if they could help it. Surely even those who relied on that strange power sometimes felt fear rather than gratitude as a result. It must have hurt the witch to have that happen over and over. Since the time she had started thinking that way, Shannon had tried to stop being frightened of Beatrice. It was certainly something that tormented the witch for over 1,000 years. Maybe she really liked those sweets. Beatrice, who normally spoke abusively, praised the black tea that Shannon served her and looked to be in remarkably high spirits. After doing that for a while, the witch and the servant grew animated in their discussion over the trip with George. The things Shannon actually knew about Beatrice were surprisingly few. First of all, she was a ghost-like being who appeared in unexpected places at unexpected times. It seemed not everyone could perceive she was there. And apparently everyone has something called a wavelength, and the ability to perceive witches varies greatly among different people. Only Shannon and Canon could interact with her enough to exchange words like this. There were a few people who could sense her presence, but most people couldn't even feel that much. From what she said, Kraus and his wife in particular had zero magical talent. No matter how much she followed them around, they wouldn't ever notice her. Once earlier, when Shannon messed up and Natsuhi got mad at her, Beatrice had started playing around, hitting Natsuhi on the head with her pipe. I see, Natsuhi really doesn't notice a thing. But Shannon, watching that, had burst out laughing without thinking and had gotten scolded even more. Oof.
なら、親方様だったらどうでしょうか。
What about the master?
魔法の研究とかをなさっているそうですし、きっとベアトリーチェ様のお姿にも
I
気
hear he's
づい
been
て
doing
くだ
a
さる
research
と
in
思いま
magic. I'm
す。
sure he'll be able to notice you, Beatrice-sama.
金蔵も同じよ。
And Kinzo's the same. Wait, how did he make a deal with her
あれ
then?
にも気の毒なくらいに。
He has a pitiful lack of magical talent. Oh, feels bad, man.
血だな。
It's the
同
blood.
情に値するほど才能がな
He
い。
has so little talent, I pity him. Oh, God. Really? As soon as they started talking about Kinzo, it felt like the atmosphere around Beatrice has changed. She'd spoken about Kraus and the rest lack of magic as though she looked down on them, but she spoke of Kinzo in a different way. Anyone connected to the family would know about his legend of the gold, and according to that, he was given the gold after summoning the witch Beatrice. In other words, she must have had some kind of relationship with Kinzo.
だからあれは才能のひとかけらもないくせに
Now that's
至ったの
because
だ。
he succeeded despite having not even a scrap of
狂
talent.
ったように独学を重ね魔術師の域にまで達した。
He kept studying by himself like mad and managed to become a magician. The man who literally has no magical ability became a wizard anyway. He's like, fuck the rules, I can't use magic, I'll be a magician anyway.
それはとてもすごいことなんですね。
That's something really incredible, right?
うん。
Indeed. The witch, who usually looked down on people, was uncharacteristically offering her praise. While she lambasted him by saying he had no talent, she praised his efforts.
そして親方様は魔法の力でベアトリーチェ様を呼び出した。
The word she used for scrap was... Oh, we could have just checked what she used. A scrap of talent. She used kakera for that? We could have just changed to Japanese, right?
そして親方様は
Unfortunately,
魔法
we're
の
a few
力で
characters
ベアト
back,
リー
so
チ
I
ェ
have to
様を呼び
count.
出した。
I'm gonna have to count how many lines I have to go back. Let's see.
親方様は魔法の
Okay,
力でベア
this
ト
one,
リーチェ
1
様を
up,
呼び出し
2
た。
up, 3 up, 4 up, 5 up.
そ
Switch
し
to
て
Japanese. Dialogue.
親方
1 up,
様は
2 up,
魔
3
法
up,
の
4
力
up,
でベアト
5
リー
up.
チェ様を呼び出した。
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, 5 up was this? Maybe it's this one? Oh, she's saying I mean, I can only barely read the word Beatrice here. It's probably this one. Wait a minute. This is something about her listening? No, her attach? This is what? Mokitsuite kudasaru daru to omoimasu? Oh, this is not talking about Kinzo though, I don't think. I don't think Kinzo shows up in this. It's probably this line then? It's probably this line where Kinzo... Yeah. Saw something. I see the kanji for says and seeing a few times. And I can see Kinzo. As Kinzo is the first two characters here. I believe Kinzo is the first two characters in this sentence. if you can't read Japanese. Because the first character is the character for gold. And Kinzo is, I believe... He's like Goldsmith. Isn't he like Goldsmith or something? Like they were asking why he wasn't Goldsmith or something like that at some point. I think there was a joke like that. Anyway. Let's go to the language I can actually read. Well. Yeah, they use he here, so it's probably this. You cannot read it because it's a Higurashi word? Ah, okay. Okay, I figured I'd just like bring it up. I'm pretty sure it was that one though. Once I started reading the text for the first one I showed up, I was like, wait a minute, this doesn't work. And my Japanese is pretty mediocre. My Japanese is pretty mediocre. I can read the hiragana and katakana, and I can read like a few major kanji, but anything that's more than like the most basic shit I can't do. Alright, and then the master summoned Beatrice-sama with the power of magic. Indeed. Well, I only answered the summons on a whim. After all, in this period, where magic's long since been denied, here was a man who was without a scrap of talent, yet so desperate to succeed. Yeah, I can look up whether it was Kakera, either by looking up the recording or by putting all of that shit into Google Translate. I only need to put a few words in since I think most of them weren't Kakera. Which is pretty easy to guess. Pretty easy to guess if you know like half the characters. I thought I'd drop by and poke some fun at him. And that's when my luck ran out. Her choice of words highlighted how much of a disaster this had been for her. Shannon hesitated over whether it would be safe to continue this discussion, but Beatrice continued on her own, ignoring Shannon. After all, his contract did have a proper format and set of rules. Various procedures were mixed up, but well, in deference to his enthusiasm, I graciously accepted his contract. And then I gave him a mountain of gold. And then the master used that gold and succeeded in business, growing his wealth into what it is today. Indeed, his talent for magic was minimal, but it seems he had a knack for business and gambling. Or perhaps it was due to the bravery and madness that led him to risk everything on unreasonable bets. Madness sometimes acts as magical power. I'll watch for him to reference him not having any mana. I see, if you look at it that way, perhaps it isn't quite fair to say he was completely lacking in magical talent. Alright. Shannon felt like she was daydreaming. While everyone in the family knew the story of how Kinzo idolized black magic, summoned a witch, and received the gold. In actuality, it was all rambling no one believed in. And now Shannon's having the story confirmed by the witch herself. She felt a little flustered by this incredible secret only she knew. And best part of all is that she also said that, like, the main family has, like, zero magical talent. Feels bad, man. Rouse has no magical talent and no business sense. Life is harsh. Ugh.
莫大な財産を得た金蔵は人の世で手に入れることのできるすべての夢を叶えきった。
Yo, what's up, my dude? Once Kinzo gained his vast fortune, he could realize every dream that can be satisfied by objects obtainable in the human world. In the end,
最後に世界の真理を求めた。
he searched for the truth of this world.
世界の真理?
The truth of this world?
世界を構成する 一なる元
The
素
single element that makes up the world.
人の世で得られる全てを満たした金蔵は人が求める最後の欲望としてそれを欲したのだ
The single element that makes up the world. Kinzo, who had gained everything one can obtain in the human world, searched for that, the final desire humans seek. The single element. She seemed to remember the witch using that word before. Was it love? It was love, right? When Beatrice saw Shannon trying to remember what it was, she laughed bitterly, waving her hand and saying there was no need to worry.
わらわも金蔵を少し見くびっていた
I underestimated Kinzo just a
まさか
tad.
あれほどの力を見せるとは思わなかったのでな
Really didn't expect him to display such power.
おかげでこのざまだ
And thanks to that, I'm in this state.
茶飲み友達もなくこの島にもう何十年も縫い止められてい
Been
る
sewn in place on this island for several decades now without even a friend to drink
誰
tea
に
with.
話しかけようとも声は届かずどこへ行くこともできない
No matter who I try to talk to, my voice doesn't reach them, and no matter where I go, I can't do
なん
anything.
とも退屈な数十年だったこ
Such
と
boring decades. As she laughed in self-derision, she tapped her teacup with her finger. It made the light sound of pottery. Shannon didn't know whether the word self-derision was really an accurate expression to describe the look on her face. Shannon didn't quite understand everything, but she could more or less figure out the situation, and it was probably a topic she couldn't press the witch on easily, not unless the witch started talking about it herself. To sum up everything she'd said until now, Beatrice, who'd been summoned by Kinzo's magic, could not leave the island for some reason, and she'd lost her power and form, living her days in boredom. During that time, her words reached Shannon, who never forgot to show respect for the witch. And since Shannon helped the witch regain her power, if only a little bit, as a result, it was now possible for the witch to drink tea with Shannon like this.
ベアトリーチェ様が私に割るように言ったあの鏡は一体何なのですか
Oh, Beatrice-sama, what in the world was the mirror you told me to break? One of the seals of your
ああそ
prison,
の話か
I assume? Oh, that.
この辺りの島で大昔いろいろとあったらしくてな
Long ago, it seems various things happened on the islands around this
その
area.
せいで良くないものがたまり悪い歪みを引き寄せていたのだ
Because of that, malignant forces gathered here and began to draw in an evil distortion.
旅の東洋魔術師か何かが鎮魂の社を建立して封じ込め
Seems
た
a
らしい
traveling Eastern magician or something built a shrine for the repose of souls and sealed them in there.
それ自体はわらわとはどうでもいいことなのだが困ったことに魔力の基礎が違っててな
That in itself has nothing to do with me, but unfortunately that magical power rested on a different foundation than mine. Oh?
わらわの魔力にも強い干渉を及ぼしておって
It created a strong
非常に迷惑して
interference
い
with
た
my
のだ
magic. It was extremely bothersome.
そうだったんですか
Is that how it was?
私はてっきりベアトリーチェ様を封じていたものだとばか
And I
り
assumed it existed only to seal you, Beatrice-sama.
わらわを対象にしたものではない
I wasn't the
だ
target,
が神格のある鏡だったからな
but it was a divine
結果
mirror.
としてわらわの力を封じ
As
込
a
めていた
result,
わ
my
け
power
だ
was sealed away. We're gonna grind some sinklets for go, even if it's bait. That bait is and hope for go, so you can get even bigger damage to your favorite servants. Go for it, dude. Good luck.
料理に例えるならこうか
Use food as an example. Maybe it goes something
わ
like
らわの
this.
注文した西洋料理が厨房でまさに料理されているとする
Let's say the Western food I ordered is being made in the
ところ
kitchen.
がいざ配膳しようとしたら客席は日本風で
However, when they
懐
try to
石
set the
料理
table,
が並べられている場だった
the area for the guest seating is in the Japanese style with Japanese style
だ
dishes.
から厨房は場違いな皿を出せずわらわのところへはいつまで経っても西洋料理が届か
And in
ない
that way, the kitchen is unable
と
to
い
serve a
った
plate
感じよの
that would be out of place. Thus, no matter how long I wait, my Western food won't arrive. Something like that.
だからそなたに日本風の客席を打ち壊し場を一度白紙に戻させたのだ
So basically, you destroyed that Japanese-style guest seating and returned the area to a blank slate for a
そのお
time.
かげでようやくわらわの注文した料理が届き力が戻ったというところ
And
か
thanks to that, the meal I ordered was finally delivered and my power came back, you could say.
もっともようやく食前酒が届いたというとこ
For
ろ
so
よ
far, only the aperitif has arrived.
メインディッシュにはまだまだ遠い。
It'll still be a while before the main
今
dish.
のわらわなど、靴屋の妖精にも劣る
As
希
I am
薄な
now, I'm
存
more
在で。
fragile than a shoe store fairy. Three rare prisms, you say? Forgetting Rako? Hmm.
何がおかしい？
Umi's.
魔女様の例えがあまりに面白かったも
I
の
thought
で
your metaphor was particularly amusing. I thought it was pretty good too. I'm surprised she didn't expect that
ま
one.
さか魔法の話がお料理の話に例えられるとは思いませんでした。
I never thought you would have used a story about food as a metaphor for magic.
我ながらうまい表現だったつもりだが、よもや笑われるとは思わなかったぞ。
I thought it a skillful comparison, but I certainly didn't expect it to be less.
少し心外だ。
A bit offended. A slightly sulky expression rose to the witch's face. It wasn't a strange expression to be appearing on the face of some friends as they enjoyed their tea.
こう見えても、昔は残酷極まりないことで知られたわらわだったが。
Although I may not look it, I was known for doing extremely brutal things in the past. I've gotten
悪
soft.
くなったものよ。
R.I.P. in peace, Shannon.
人間とこうして、たわいない話で茶を交わせるようになるの
And
だ。
now I can even have a foolish discussion while drinking tea with a human. She was probably talking to herself, and as Beatrice gazed at the sea of birds tracing the horizon, she put her tea to her lips once
雲
again.
が出てきたな。
The clouds have come out.
海も精彩をかけば、灰色の水たまりに過ぎぬ。
When the ocean loses its brilliance, it's nothing more than a gray
そう
puddle.
でしょうか。
You think so?
曇っても海は美しくて真っ青だと思います。
I think the ocean's a beautiful deep blue even when it gets cloudy. Of course, it's always blue. The clouds merely obscure that, right? Maybe the witch knows the deep meaning behind Shannon's words. She laughed lightly and set down her empty teacup.
もはや、そなたの両目に埋められているのは、黒い石ころではないらしい。
It seems the things buried in your eyes aren't black pebbles
ど
anymore.
うだ？
How is
家
it?
具から人間に生まれ変わった気持ちは、理解できておるか？
You see how it feels for furniture to be reborn as a human?
はい、
Yes.
世界がこんなにも優しかったなんて。
I never knew the world was this kind. Alright. Since the start of her relationship with George, Shannon's face had grown brighter more often. Her smile made everything go smoothly, and it even changed her fortune. Shannon made less mistakes in her work than she had before, and the family members' opinion of her was slowly starting to change. Just the other day, she'd been surprised when Kraus, who rarely exchanged words with her, suddenly started talking to her.
最近いい笑顔をすることが多くなったじゃないか。
You've been wearing a splendid smile more often lately, haven't you?
何か良いことでもあったのかね。
Has something good happened?
いえ、でも楽しい毎日です。
Every day is fun, yeah?
良いことじゃないか。
Wonderful,
同じコーヒーなら
wonderful. She's
笑顔
happy.
で継がれた方がうまいに決まってい
It
る。
goes without saying, coffee is more delicious when poured with a smile.
その笑顔でもう一杯頼めんかね。
Could I ask for that smile once more?
はい。
Yes, sir. Look at that cute smile. We need to preserve that smile. Alas, even Beatrice doesn't seem to agree since Rip Shannon. That had become a chance for Shannon to gain confidence in herself. Of course, it didn't go beyond her own heart, and it wasn't so big a change that anyone would notice. But she'd begun to change bit by bit. She understood it clearly. Knowing love was the same as gaining a soul, the same as being reborn from furniture into a human. There was nothing mistaken in Beatrice's words. By knowing love, Shannon learned what it was to be human.
珍しい茶化をちそうになったな。
These have been unusual things.
有意義な時間であった。
It's time well
そ
spent.
ろそろ仕事に戻らねばならぬ時間であろう。
About time for you to return to
茶
work.
会はこれまでにしよう。
So let's end this tea party for now.
そなたとわらわが茶を飲むことを好かん者もおるようでな。
After all, it seems a certain person doesn't like seeing us drink tea together.
え？
The witch gripped a teaspoon and flipped it with her fingers, sending it up in the air. After that, it was launched by the fingers of some invisible person and flew straight into a nearby bush. The bush shook violently and cannon came out. Seemed he had been there for some time watching their tea party. The spoon was gripped in his hand. If he hadn't caught it, it might have hit him hard in the forehead and caused him to start oozing blood.
安心せよ。
I mean, that was the most telegraphed thrown spoon I'd seen in a while.
茶会はこれで終わるぞ、カノン。
Tea party's over now, Cannon.
いつからそこにいたの？
How long were you
声
there?
をかけてくれればカノン君の紅茶も入れたのに。
If you'd called to us, I'd have poured you some tea too.
女同士の語らいを邪魔したくなかったのであろう。
I imagine you didn't want to interrupt a pair of women talking. Right? I think Cannon just doesn't like Beatrice. Cannon kept silent, but there seemed to be a slightly hostile look in his eyes. On the outside, he acted with respect, but unlike Cannon did not trust the witch. When Beatrice hit the table with her pipe, the tea set turned into gold butterflies which flew upwards all at once. They then scattered in every direction and the cleanup was done.
楽しかったぞ、シャノン。
It was
ま
fun,
た縁
Shannon.
があれば会おうぞ。
Meet again if the chance arises.
まだまだ魔力が足りぬでな。
My powers are still quite lacking.
姿を現すのも疲れる。
It's tiring even to show myself.
そんなに疲れるなら二度と現れるな。
Well, if you're that tired, never appear again. Cannon had said it in a small voice, but the witch seemed to have heard it perfectly. She giggled but didn't reply.
さあ次
Yeah,
の
no
茶会で
dishes.
は
Life is
ジ
good.
ョージとの話をまた聞かせておくれ。
Shannon, tell me more about George at our next tea party.
人の恋路より甘い茶かは
There's
他
no
にな
snack
い。
sweeter than a person's love life. Yeah, must be nice. Must be nice, Beatrice. Never having to do the dishes because you're just like, magic, they cease to exist. Magic, they exist, and I put tea in them.
それでは
You
さ
can.
らばだ。
Or maybe she has to do the dishes in her magical realm. Who knows? Beatrice's body also became gold butterflies which scattered in all directions and disappeared. It was a fantastical and beautiful scene like a blizzard of gold leaf, and for a while Shannon quietly watched the witch's exit. Shannon appeared from behind and spoke with an expression that was drastically different from hers.
姉さん、あいつと付き合っちゃダメだって言ったじゃないか。
Didn't I tell you to stay away from her?
ベアトリーチェ様はそんなに悪い人じゃない。
Beatrice-sama isn't that bad of a person. The smart thing to do would be to say I'm gonna move out of the island so that I can get with George without it being really awkward as I work for his family. And then just see her once a year or something like that on really awkward days. You're not gonna get caught up in whatever bullshit she's planning. That'd be what I'd do. Maintain a cordial relationship but live at a distance so you're unlikely to get murdered or caught up in any weird tricks.
確かにちょっと怪しいところはある
Might
け
be a
れ
little
ど。
bit shady, but Cannon's too emo for pads. Of course, of course.
僕たちにしか姿が見えない時点で十分にうさんくさいよ。
Back the week, only we could see her suspicious
あい
enough.
つは人間じゃない。
I think he's not human.
何を企んでるかわかるものか。
Who knows what she might be planning?
カノン君、それは少し失礼だと思うな。
Cannon, I think that's rude. There was a touch of sternness in Shannon's voice, which was unusual for her. To Cannon, who knew her well, she must have sounded extremely stern. Cannon, looking excessively surprised considering Shannon's tone, fell silent.
確かにベアトリーチェ様は人間とは違
It's true, Beatrice-sama is different from
う。恐
human.
ろしい力を持っているし、恐れ敬わなければなら
She
ない
has a
存在だと
terrifying
思
power.
う。
It's right for us to fear and respect her.
でも人間とは違うからといってそれだけを理由に意味嫌うのは
Still, I think it's
とても失礼な
incredibly
こと
rude
だ
to
と思うの。
despise her just because she isn't human. Alright. That's an
姉さ
argument.
んの言いたいことはわかるよ。
I understand what you're trying to say,
姉さん
Nezan.
はあいつにあのブローチをもらってから変わった。
Changed ever since she gave you the brooch.
まるで魔女の虜だよ。
Like you're her prisoner.
ジョージ様との仲を取り持ってもらって頭が上がらないんだ。
She brought you and George together and now you're indebted to her?
そんなことを言わないで。
Don't say things like that. Wait, didn't Shannon just say in her own head she's indebted to the witch?
あいつは人間じゃない。
That thing isn't human?
何を考えてるかわから
Don't
ない。
know what she's
だから気を
thinking?
許しちゃダメなん
You
だ。
shouldn't trust her.
そして人間じゃないの
And we
は
aren't
僕らも
human
同じだ
either.
よ。姉さん。
Nesa. Cannon's words grew more serious. Those words probably gouged at Shannon's heart. She bit her lower lip and hung her head.
僕らは核だ。
We're furniture. No, I'm pretty sure the witch disagreed.
たとえ名前をもらい、人として接してもらったとしても、
Even if we receive
僕たち
names
の
and
生
are
まれが
treated
変
as
わるわけ
human,
じゃない。
it won't change the manner of our birth. You're no longer furniture. The words Beatrice had given her, which made her the happiest, floated through Shannon's mind.
家具じゃ
I am
な
not
いよ。
furniture.
家具だ
No,
よ。
you are furniture.
僕たちは人間未満の存在だよ。
We are less than human. Are you going to turn into furniture when you die? I mean, if you're actual furniture like a desk, given sapience with the ability to turn back into a desk, maybe you could say you're furniture. But if you're given the mind and soul of a human, wouldn't you just be a human who could turn into an object? As I would say, a desk inherently doesn't think. Although, could we make a thinking desk? Would a desk with an AI in it think of itself as furniture? Or would it think of itself as an AI inside of a desk? I think it would think of itself as an AI inside of a desk, as you could probably remove it from the desk and it would still be itself, right? Let's think about this. If you take a person and give them the body of a desk, are they a desk? Or are they a person? And can they be both? I think they would probably be like a person with the physical form of a desk, right? Right? That's what we'd say. So you'd be, if this is the mind of a person in the body of a person, then they are a person, right? Mind of a person, body of a person is a person. As your form factor is not a requirement to be a... Your form factor doesn't impact your ability to be a sapient person? An object doesn't have sapience, so you can't inherently be an object. It could only be an attribute of your physical self, your shape, your form factor, right? Like your shape.
姉さんはそこを忘れたふりをして、人間のふりをしているだけ。
Nason, you're pretending to have forgotten, pretending to be human?
自分でも分かっているはずだよ。
You know that as well as I do. I swear to God, Canon. If you were furniture, you would be a toilet scrub brush. That's what you'll be.
私
I'm
家
not
具じゃない
furniture.
もん。人間だもん。
I'm human.
いや、人間じゃない。
No, you're not.
僕らには愛する資格も、愛される資格も
We
初め
have
から
never
ない。
possessed what it takes to love or be loved. But Shannon does. If that's your definition of to be human, which is, curiously enough, also what Beatrice says, then by your own definition, Canon, she's human. I don't know why Canon's saying she's furniture when she has the capacity. It seems like she has the capacity to love or be loved. Right? She got that independently of Beatrice. So I think we're good. Canon's criticism seemed to have shifted away from Shannon's meetings with the witch. Shannon picked up on that quickly.
お嬢様に聞いたよ。
I heard from Milady.
正直、呆れたね。
What were you
ジ
thinking?
ョージ様と一緒に旅行に出られるなんて
Can't believe you'd go on a trip with George-sama.
家具の身の程を忘れてる
You
よ。
forgot your place as furniture.
姉さんはあの魔女にそそのかされて、自分が人間になれたと勘違いしてるだけなんだよ。
Canon, that doesn't even make sense. You're not being consistent. You've been tempted by the witch, mistakenly believing you become human. Come again? By your definition, the requirement is to love or be loved to be human. So if she's interested in someone and loves someone, then wouldn't she by definition be a human, Canon? Which qualities is she missing? You'll have to be more specific, Canon. Your argument sucks. And you come off as an asshole. Listen,
確か
Canon-kun.
に私たちは家具だよ。
It's true we're
人
furniture.
間味を取った未満の存在。
Lesser beings inferior to humans? Okay.
でもその満たない分をもし得られたなら
If it were possible to make up for what we
それは
lack,
人間になれたということじゃないのか
wouldn't
な
that be the same as becoming human? Ooh, how do you respond to that one, Canon?
そんなもの
Such a thing could never
あ
happen.
りはしないよ。
Canon is emo and depressed. And seems to be wrong based on this story so far.
うんあるの
Kid? Good kid?
それを得たなら私たちは家具なんかじゃない
And if we can do that, we won't be furniture anymore.
人間になれるよ
We can become human.
バカバカしい。
Ridiculous. His only response is ridiculous. He's like, well, that's ridiculous. And she's like, if it's possible, then wouldn't that work?
なれるものか。
As if you could do that, but we already possessed that. Cannon spat the words out, but did so weakly and turned away. He was probably giving up. After all the suffering he'd undergone during the days he lived as furniture, his heart was firmly sealed.
なれるよカノン君も
Maybe he was a toilet seat or a toilet. I don't know. You can do it too, Ken. No, that can't be right. I know what this guy was. This guy was Chef Mike. This guy was Chef fucking Mike. Rip Senpai of a clip, apparently. He was Chef Mike, and not like a good one. Like the one at my work where you have to slam the door every time. So, the microwave at my work, it works fine. But it has this weird issue with its door sensor where it does, if you close the door normally like a reasonable person, it doesn't recognize that the door is closed a lot of the time. So you kind of have to like slam the door all the time. It's quite annoying, but that's what I feel like Cannon's like. Although maybe he's not a maybe he's not a food related, maybe he's not a cooking or food related thing. Maybe he's just no, he doesn't like music. I was gonna say he's like a CD player or something, but no. He's too bland. He's a coat rack. Okay, he's a coat rack. That's what he is. But anyway, this microwave, you have to like really, yeah, slap with no argument slaps any random person in chat. For the microwave, you have to slam it. It was pretty funny. There was a newer person from another department at work, and they were like trying to get the microwave to work, and I'm like, you have to slam it. Just like slam it if it's being finicky. So they slam it, or like they push it closed with a little more force. And it still doesn't work. And they did that like 3 times until I got up and just like slammed it shut. And they're like, oh. So they cook whatever they're cooking. I sit back down and they want to reheat it. They want to like heat it a little bit more because they didn't put it in long enough. I'm like, all right, let's see if they've learned their lesson because I told them just to use way more force than you think is necessary. So they close it. Same problem again. So I get up and slam it closed, runs immediately. I'm like, goodness me. Oh. I had to help. I had to do that for them like 2 or 3 times. 2 or 3 times. I'm trying to remember if I did it 3 times. Yeah, I think it was 2. And it was just really funny. Oh my goodness. Like, it's like when you're doing any woodworking and stuff. If you're doing like woodworking or any like physical projects, like any building projects and stuff. Like the first time you're gonna hammer a nail into anything. You're gonna swing that hammer very lightly, and it's gonna tap the nail, and it's not gonna move. It's not even gonna grip the surface. It's gonna be completely useless. You're gonna have to nail it like 100 times to drive that. You're gonna have to hammer that nail in like 100 times to drive it in, and then once you've done that like once you've done that a few times, you'll realize you're supposed to use way the fuck more force to hammer anything in, and you just use light taps to drive it in. First time you'll use an electric screwdriver full force. Oh, like a DIY. Yeah, don't just pull the trigger as hard as it goes. More likely, yeah, that just like wouldn't be good. The nice thing about electric screwdrivers is that you can just like turn them up, like it's like a trigger on a controller, okay? You can depress them as much as you like, and that's how much force you get. Is Cannon a microwave or a hammer? No, I said he's a coat rack. He's a coat rack. He's a coat rack. He's not a microwave. But if he was a microwave, he'd be the microwave that I have to slam closed because apparently he's been abused in his time as furniture. I had to pick something generic because, you know, He didn't get that abused that much, but he's really he's feeling abused. Something like the coat rack probably, or the gate. He's not a gatekeeper, but
普通の人間に
you can do it, Canon. You can become a normal person, a normal human.
よしてよ
Stop it.
魔
It's
女
the
の
witch
受け売
talk.
りは
This guy is such a fucking edgelord. Holy shit, dude.
うん
Yes.
ベアトリーチェ様に教えてもらったの
Beatrice-sama taught me.
私たちは世界の一なる元素を得ることで人間になることができる
By obtaining the single element of this world, we become human.
それを満たさないなら
Or
そ
rather,
れは人間じゃない
nobody's human if they don't have that.
だから人は一なる元素を得るために生涯を尽くし
That's why people spend their entire lives trying to gain that single element.
姉さんが何を言っているのかわからないね
I don't understand what you're saying,
よ
Nesa.
迷い事なら聞きたくないよ
I don't want to listen to ranting. Oh. She has a response for him and he's like, I don't want to listen to your rant. It's like 2 sentences.
カノン君にも分かるように教えてあげるね
I'll teach you in a way even you can understand.
姉さんの指の先
BB チャ
Shoot him. Ooh, thanks for the resub. A gifted sub. Congratulations, my dude. Thanks for the gifted sub. I assumed it was just a resub. But nope, it's a gifted sub. Congratulations, my dude. You got your streak has been restored. And I got a gift. You got a gifted sub. Congratulations, dude. Thanks for gifting that sub, baby. All right. Look, see what I'm pointing at? I do see what you're pointing at. Shannon quietly pointed at the sea toward the horizon. Cannon didn't quite understand what she meant and couldn't do anything except look between the horizon and her expression, which seemed to be posing a riddle.
海
The
カ
sea.
ノン君は海が何色に見える
It's at 12 months? Yes. And like I said, I believe you can turn off a founder's badge if you want to. The sea, Cannon. What color does the sea look like to you? It was an extremely simple question. For a while, Cannon tried to guess at the meaning behind it, but he couldn't think of anything, so he answered obediently.
パッとしない
It's a hazy, dark gray color.
それが何
So what? Objectively speaking, the sea laid out beneath a cloudy sky could probably be best described by Cannon's words. But as Shannon closed her eyes, she smiled and shook her head slightly.
私には真っ青に見える
It looks deep blue to me.
そういう意味
Is that what you mean?
緑色の信号を青っていうようなものでしょ
Like how Japanese people use the word blue to refer to a green traffic light?
違うの
No, no,
海
no.
は真っ青
The sea is deep
私
blue.
には分かってカノン君には分からないなら
If I understand and
こ
you
れが
don't,
つまり
then that's the difference between us. Cannon bit his lower lip and was silent for a while.
わからないよ
I don't understand.
カノン君
Cannon.
手を出して
Cannon-kun, would you stick out your hand? As Cannon was taken aback, unable to understand what she was saying, she took his arm and opened the palm of his hand. She softly said something there. It was the magic brooch, by which she had received from Beatrice. A magic charm shaped like a gold butterfly that could bring love to fruition.
これは
This is
あいつの
hers?
ううん
No?
これは私の
Yeah, it's great to have this conversation with the CG and the water is a bright blue and he's talking about how it's gray. It's supposed to be, for those of you who weren't paying attention to the text or forgot for a second, it's supposed to be super overcast today. So the water is not supposed to be a bright blue. It's supposed to be like kind of gray because it's overcast and maybe a little bit foggy. So it doesn't look blue. But in our background, yeah, it looks blue. And this is
だ
mine.
から私だと思って粗末にしないで
Think of it as me and treat it with respect, okay? After being spoken to like that, he couldn't just throw it away. It's supposed to be overcast, but then we see like 2 clouds in the sky. Well, we see like 10 clouds in the sky, separated by great expanses of blue. Cannon didn't know what he should do, and he stood there confused for a while, the brooch still in the palm of his hand. Shannon put the palm of her hand on top of Cannon's, and the brooch was warmed by both of their hands.
これは 本当の魔法の力を持ったお守り。
This charm holds true
きっ
magical
とカ
power.
ノン君に大切な気持ちを教
I'm
え
sure
てくれると思う
it'll teach you an important emotion, Canon-kun.
あいつの魔法で教えられることなんて何もない。
There's nothing to be learned from that person's magic.
ううんあるの。
There is something, though.
だから身につけて
The wear it.
恥ずかしければ懐に忍ばせておくだけでもいいそうなの。
Wear it. If it's embarrassing, I hear it's okay if you just hide it in your
バカ
pocket.
バカしい。あ
Ridiculous.
いつの魔法なんかに惑わされてたまるか。
And if I'd let the magic of that person lead me astray. Even as he said it, he couldn't be cold-hearted towards something Shannon was urging him to take. And in the end, Cannon took it and agreed reluctantly, saying he'd prove that he wouldn't surrender to the witch's power. Shannon smiled and nodded back.
きっとカノン君は大切なことを学べるよ
I'm。sure you'll be able to learn something important from it.
きっと人間になれるから。
And I'm sure you can become human.
そうすればきっとカノン君にもこの海が美しい青
And
に
when
見
you
える
do,
に違いない。
I'm sure this ocean will look like a beautiful blue to you as well, Cannon.
ネ
This
ズミは
random
何
brooch
度見たって
possessing
ネズミ
magical
さ。
power. Seems nice. Gray is gray no matter how many times you look. Are you sure?
違うよカノン君。
That's wrong, Canon.
そう見えるのは愛がないから。
It only looks that way because you have no love. Oh. Oh. Also, the censorship's kind of funny. It could be like, because you have no dick, which is funny. The 4 stars made me want to end that with, it only looks that way because you have no dick. And I'm like, oh, no balls? What could you be censoring? It only looks that way because you have no... Because of the howling wind, he hadn't been able to catch the main point of what she'd said. The single element is those glasses that help with certain kinds of colorblindness. So Shannon said it once more. The single element of the world. She spoke once more of the world where it existed, and where the sea was deep blue.
きっとカノン君にも真
I'm
っ
sure
青
you'll
な
be able
海
to
が
see
見
a
え
deep
る
blue
よ。
ocean too.
だって
After all, without love, it can't be seen. How do those glasses actually help with color blindness? Do they just allow
そ
people
こ
to
にい
perceive?
るのは誰か。
I'm curious how those glasses work, because the philosophy of color blindness is that like people who are colorblind are missing like a rod or cone, right? They're missing like a rod, right? They only have 2 kinds, so they can only interpret 2 colors, right? Like their brains are only physically capable of processing those sets of colors. So they get a limited color spectrum. How do the glasses work? They clearly don't let them see things like you can normally see them, but they probably like tweak with the tints or shades or something, right? So they can perceive them as having separate colors rather than being one and the same, right? Because like the advertisements make it look like they're gonna see like normal, and you're like, well, that shouldn't be physically possible because it's not actually modifying their eyes. It's it's like a pair of glasses, so it's a filter on the input to their eyes that makes the colors look different, right? Because I friggin' hate those ads. They're like before, and you have like the usual like blue grit, blue tan, and then it's like after, boom, regular colors, and you're just like, that's not how it's gonna be. Who's that?
カノンです。
It is
Where
Canon,
is
Master. It was rare for Kinzo to leave his study. However, the fact that he didn't mean his noble research had been suspended. He may have left the study because of a change in mood. That didn't mean the thoughts filling his head were any different than those he had while inside the study. Canon knew that no matter what the time, speaking to Kinzo when he didn't want to be spoken to would always disturb his research.
天気が重いな。
It's cloudy out there.
崩れるのか。
Look at worse.
はい。
Yes.
天気予報ではいつ雨があってもおかしくないと。
According to the weather report, it could rain at
傘
any
を
time.
お持ちいたしましょうか。
Shall I bring an umbrella?
それには及ばん。
It will not come to that.
しばらく私を放っておくがいい。
Leave me alone for a while.
息子たちに聞かれても所在は知らぬと言っておけ。
If my children ask, say you don't know where I am.
私は自らの思考を巡る旅で忙しい。
I am busy on a journey through my own thoughts.
かしこまりました。それ
Certainly.
では失礼いたします。
Then if you will excuse me. Before Kanon finished bowing, Kinzo had already returned to his own world, having forgotten Kanon's presence completely. And once again, he began rambling to himself. And amidst those words, the name of the witch popped up many times.
Oh, Beatrice.
Oh, Beatrice.
お前の微笑みに手が届かぬ。
My hand will not reach your smile.
どうすれば蘇るのか。どうすれば再び微笑んでくれるのか。
What can I do to revive you? What can I do to make you smile at me once more?
何が足りぬ。
Okay, yo, you went and looked this up, alright. Most types of color blindness occur when there is an excessive overlap of M green and L red. Yeah, okay, I'll just be waiting for the Beatrice to shut up. Beatrice to stop. Alright. Let's have a drink. So most types of color blindness occur when there's an excessive overlap of M, the green cones, and L, the red cones in the eye, causing distinct hues to become indistinguishable. So what the glasses do is adjust the colors so they can be distinguished. They don't work for people who cannot use one of the cone types. Interesting. Oh, so they might... So, since there's an overlap in the cones... Since there's an overlap in the cones, it might actually be possible to see the actual colors normally if you change the input hues? Okay. So it wouldn't work on someone who actually doesn't have one of the cones, but because it's an overlap and not like a lack of cones, it's possible to correct the colors via the glasses. Interesting. Interesting, because you just adjust them so that they're interpreted by the right parts, and you just need to figure out what the average overlap is like, so that you can figure out which part of the spectrum will look like what, right? That's interesting. Okay. And you're working purely with color. You don't actually need to do any image processing other than the color. Very cool, very cool. Okay. My hand will not reach your smile. What can I do to revive you? What can I do to make you smile at me once more? What is lacking? A research? My materials? My catalyst? Is it power? Luck? An oracle?
Beatrice, どうすればお前の面影をもう一度見ることができるのだ。
Beatrice, what can I do to see your face one more time? As Kanon listened to his master's weeping voice with his back turned, he turned around once more. And when he did, right behind his isolated old master was the shadow of a person who shouldn't have been there. It was the witch. You need a holy grail to have enough mana for summoning. At once, thinking the witch must be plotting to do Kinzo some harm, Kanon dashed back to Kinzo and tried to form a shield with his body, but when he saw the expression of the witch's face, the emotion of his vanished. After all, Beatrice's expression was sorrowful. That's sorrowful? Alright. Or maybe pitying. There we go. You fool, Kinzo. Can't you see me? Even though I'm here? Right behind Kinzo as he repeated the witch's name over and over. Desiring to be reunited with her more than anything else was the witch herself, and yet Kinzo didn't notice anything. When Beatrice tried to rest her hand on his shoulder, he didn't notice. But why does my hand not reach Beatrice's smile? Is it the age of the moon? The cycle of the comets? The alignment of the planets? What's lacking? What is? Useless, Kinzo. Without love, it cannot be seen. Kanon took the brooch he received from Shannon out of his pocket, and by learning something new, would he be able to glimpse something he couldn't see now? Without love, it cannot be seen. He looked at Kinzo's back once more. The witch could no longer be seen there. Ripperoni. You can't see the person who's hanging around him all the time. Poor guy, she's just there. If only he could see. If only his eyes didn't suck. Without love, it cannot be seen. It's the last line in the OP. Interesting. The biggest fall event for the Ashiromiya family was the family conference in October, and this is nothing related to it, is it? But to Jessica, there was another major event that came before that, the school cultural festival. Jessica liked school. To her, it was a place where she could let out the stress she'd built up from the rigid lifestyle she was forced to lead at home. She's failing classes, but she really likes school. Interesting how that works. For today's cultural festival, she'd formed a group with her friends. They're in the music room? Are they in a band? They'd announced they'd perform some light music on a temporary stage. She'd prepared and practiced for this over and over until today, always anxiously awaiting this day's arrival. But there was one thing that worried her. She looked at the clock. There was still a little time, but she felt uneasy. Would that person really come? After taking a single deep breath, her heart jumped when all her friends suddenly started speaking in shrill voices. Wait, Hina's boyfriend is so awesome. Isn't he? Boyfriend looks really smart. Is it true that guy's a glasses beast? What? No way. No way. My husband will be a pretty boy. It may not be like this for all the girls, but at least at Jessica's school, the cultural festival was basically a boyfriend exhibition. Jessica didn't have a boyfriend. She had many friends of the opposite sex, but no special only one. But Jessica was a little famous around the school, and everyone thought it'd be natural for her to have a fitting partner. Furthermore, her pride led to her to pretend that it was true. She somehow managed to keep them fooled until this year. For various reasons, she hadn't been able to escape this year's cultural festival. Jessie, is your boyfriend here? Oh, there we go. Jessica in a school uniform. Alas, we can't see the full. We can't see a full shot of it. But all right, green is her school's colors. Looks like he's not here yet. Maybe he's busy with work. Interesting. I thought there was like briefly a nameplate that was there, but it disappeared. All right. So what kind of person is he, Jesse? At least give us a hint. What kind of relationship? What kind of relationship? Awesome. So he's a working man. Will he come in a suit? Who wearing glasses, right? What is with this chick in glasses? He actually doesn't exist, right? If you come clean now, we'll let you join us. Let's ride together throughout this year's cultural festival. I told you he exists. He exists. He exists. I told you he really exists. It's the Canadian boyfriend, right? The one that exists. They're just in a different country. You met them while they were here on a trip. You're long distance. You know, that kind. Jessica's bitter smile was covered with cold sweat. It was starting to seem doubtful whether she really had deceived her sharp-witted friends. Okay. Oh, making a fake boyfriend and taking him with you. Fake? Canon. It's gonna be canon, right? I can't think of anyone who do that. Shannon's ridiculous plan surprised Jessica into hysterics. Even so, it was probably more realistic than the crazy methods running through her head about getting a boyfriend in the big rush before the cultural festival.
例えばですが、
Like, for
カノ
example,
ンくんなんてどうでしょう。
what about Canon-kun?
カノンくん
Canon-kun? You don't like Canon-kun, Jessica? No way, no way.
きっとカノンくん文化祭の日は仕事に決まってるぜ。
I'm pretty sure Canon-kun is work on the day of the festival.
迷惑かけちゃ悪いしさ。
I don't want to bother him.
もちろん予定表も確認済みです。
Of course, I already checked
カ
the
ノンくん
schedule.
はその日、お
Canon
休
has
み
the
に
day
な
off.
っています。
Canon's 18. Is this the year before though? This might be the year before, so it'd be what? 15, 17?
こんな時ばっかり容量が
Are
いい
you always so clever when it comes to stuff like this?
じゃなくて
Wait, no.
休みならもっと
It'd
悪
be
いぜ。
even worse if he's off.
せっかくの休みを私の見栄のために引っ張り出せないよ。
I can't pull him away for a precious day off just for my own vanity.
カノンくんは引っ張り出されないといっつも閉じこもってばかりいますので、
But if you don't pull Canon-kun away, he'll always be shut in by himself.
無理に引っ張り回すくらいでちょうどいいかと思います
I
よ。
think it'd be perfect if you could drag him out of his shell.
そうなの？
You think so?
いや。でも
No, but
カノン君に
I'd
悪
feel
い。
bad for him.
なら晩作つきますね。
I guess you're out of
お
options.
となしく彼氏はいませんと白
How
状
about
なされては
meekly
いかがで
confessing
し
to
ょうか。
everyone that you don't have a boyfriend? Yeah, that's what I said. It's around 15, 17. It's around 15 and 17 right now for them because it's the year before. Still 2 years apart. Still 2 years apart. Still a little weird. Especially because that's like a free ticket to jail, but hey. That's what it is. Alright. Yeah, meekly confess to everyone you don't have a boyfriend.
それは肩身の狭い思いをなされるでしょうが、
Might be terribly embarrassing.
卒業までの短くも長い間
You'd
を
only have
耐え
to
忍ばれ
endure
る
for
だ
the
けで
short
ご
yet
ざいますし、
long time before graduation.
愛し合う恋人同士にとって独り者のひがみ顔が何に
To a
も
pair of
勝る
lovers, there's
甘い
no
蜜
sweeter
なのです
honey in the face of a single person with an inferiority complex. Yeah, it's miserable.
シャノン。
It would be considerably less weird if he didn't work for a family. Yeah, it's like super weird. If they're doing it purely professionally to maintain a facade, then it's not as weird though, right? Like, hey butler, I need you to pretend to be my boyfriend so I'm not awkward at school for 5 minutes. I mean, that's a little cringy, but it's understandable.
私のために本気で悩んでないでしょ。お
Not
ちょく
really
って
worrying
るでし
for
ょ。
my sake, are you? You're teasing me, right? Probably. Jessica wrestled about with Shannon, her eyes teary, but Shannon was unfazed, laughing with her usual smile.
はい、
Yes.
私とジョージ様のことを茶化してばかりのお嬢様への仕返しです
This is to get you back for making fun of me and George somehow all the time. Listening to Shannon's comeback, the likes of which didn't happen even once a year, Jessica hugged her cushion and rolled around on her bed, pretending to faint in agony. She couldn't stand Shannon's smile, which looked so triumphant. Right now, she was the only person Jessica would talk with. She could choke her to death with her cushion later.
いいじゃないですか、お嬢
Is it
様。
really so bad, my lady? Oof.
文
Oof.
化祭ではありますが、カノン君と一緒に遊びに行くチャンスですよ
It's a。cultural festival, but it's also a chance for you to have fun with Canon-kun.
いや、それはそうだけど。
That may be true, but
いやいやいやいや。
no. Jessica buried her head in her favorite pillow to hide the fact that her face had grown bright red, and she grumpily chewed the fingernail on her thumb. It was a reaction to be appreciated. Shannon and Jessica were about the same age, the same sex, and friends. And they were both right in the middle of puberty. They could never talk enough about love, and that's why they could talk freely about these topics to each other. Though Jessica heard a lot about how Shannon and George's love was progressing. Shannon heard a lot about what type Jessica liked, what kind of man she might be interested in, and judging by Jessica's reaction, it'd probably be rude for us to go into precisely what these things were. However, this story won't get anywhere if we just have Jessica roll around forever, so let's dive in. Jessica had been thinking about Cannon ever since he'd shown up. It was extremely rare for young men to visit Rockinjima. Maybe it was natural for Jessica, a girl in puberty, to develop an interest in Cannon. But if anyone said that, it would destroy the romantic ideals of a maiden's pure heart and love at first sight. Oof. Shannon had been with Canon a long time at the orphanage, so she knew him since before they started working. Jessica had asked persistently about what his hobbies were, what his favorite food was, and what type of girl he liked. Even to Shannon, it was clear Jessica was infatuated with Canon.
も
Oh, come on, come on.
うカノン君をデートに連れ出せるいい機会じゃありません
Isn't
か
it a good chance to take Canon-kun on the date?
でもカノン君にだって好きな人とかいるかもしれないし
Canon-kun might also have someone he likes, so
私なんかの見えっ張りに付き合わせたら気を悪くするぜ
won't he take it badly if I make him go with me just to show up?
お嬢様のような素直じゃない方を
People who aren't honest with themselves like you are...
何でしたっけジョージ様に習いまし
What
た
was the word I learned from George?
そうそうツンドラとか言うそうですよ
Ah, that's right, I think it was Sundara.
あと十数年かすると流行るんだそうですよ
Apparently they'll be all the rage in a decade or so. George is a cultured fellow? What's this? He's big into tsunderes? Interesting. It's the it's 1985 and George is like, tsunderes, they'll be big. They'll be big and just give it 10 years. The man's a visionary, what can we say?
へえさすがジョージ兄さんだな
How George Nissan sure is
未来の
incredible.
トレンドがわかるのかよ
Or seeing future trends like that.
すげえぜ
Amazing.
じゃなくて
Oh wait,
ってことは私ってタイプは時代がずれてるって
you
ことじ
saying
ゃ
I'm
ね
living
え
in
か
the
よ
wrong decade? Might be.
もうダメだ
I give up. Cinderella appeared as a concept until it became popular. Wait. When did NGE air? It's not inaccurate. See, what they're referring to, and I was double checking, you learned from Isekai Oji-san that tsundere became popular in 2004, but here's the thing. Who's the most popular tsundere in the classic? And it's not Rin, because Rin is a bit past 2004. You know who it is? This might be actually be George doing a Kraus, but you know what is exactly 10 years? And I just double checked to make sure. Exactly 10 years after 1985, NGE comes out. Neon Genesis Evangelion. Okay. We got Asuka. 10 years. 10 years. And a good tsundere comes out. Okay. Gonna be 10 years. That's right. Asuka comes out because NGE's first episode airs on October 4th, 1995. Which is a long fucking time ago. But there you go. So if you invest in tsundere stocks in 1995, you'll be in 1995 early. You'll be making bank when everyone likes Asuka. Just don't invest in the 80s, you'll be screwed. And she is older than you are? Yeah, it's pretty fucking old, isn't it? It took several days of wasted efforts, but in the end, Jessica agreed to the plan of having Canon pretend to be her boyfriend. Question is he gonna show up here? I guess we'll have that scene. We're gonna go find Canon.
はい、お嬢様。
My lady.
お呼びでしょうか。
Did you call me? Jessica regretted calling out at such a bad time. Canon always looked sullen, but he had some bad days and some better days. Unfortunately, this reaction was the former.
いや、
well,
そのさ、
All the confidence and effort she built up practicing in front of a mirror that night was wiped out in about 5 seconds. Jessica turned bright red and hung her head. When he saw that, Canon sighed, and Jessica thought he was exasperated with her and her face went pale.
シャノンから聞いています。
I heard from
お嬢
Shannon.
様の学校の文化祭へお供するようにというお
This
話
is
で
about
すが
having me go with you to the school cultural festival, right, milady? Yeah.
シャノンナイ
Nice one,
スじゃ
Shannon.
なくて
I mean, yeah,
そうなんだけどすま
that's right. But
当日の予定はどうかな
do you have any plans that day?
シャノンから当日は特にお嬢様にお仕えするよう厳命されております。
I was strictly ordered by Shannon to work specially for you on that day, milady. Well, that's certainly some dialogue. All right.
僕は高校には行ったことがないのでわかりませんが、
I've never been to high school, so I don't really understand.
何でも
But here it's a
男性の
place.
付き人がいないと大変肩身が
I hear
狭
it's
い
a
の
place
か
where
な
girls can be shamed if they don't have a boy with them.
後ろ宮本家令嬢が庶民に劣ることがあってはならないと
I was given special
特
orders
に
to
厳
see to
命
it
されておりますので、
that the daughter of the Ishiromiya family is in no way inferior to the common people.
シャノンは後でぶっ殺す
Shannon, I'll beat you to death later. Jessica keeps yelling with a strange voice and a broken smile, like a tea kettle filled with boiling water. And as Cannon watched this, he sighed again. Cannon wasn't an idiot either. He fully understood what Jessica intended by inviting him, but to be honest, playing along with Jessica's love game seemed like it'd be nothing more than an annoyance to him. However, Shannon asked him over and over. He was deeply indebted to her, so he couldn't refuse. And that brooch was in his pocket. Could this strange turn of events have been brought about by the magic power residing in this brooch? Ridiculous. But he remembered what Shannon had said to him that day. Could Shannon see something he couldn't? I don't understand Shannon's feelings. We're furniture. As if we could ever become anything more. Truly an odd exchange between Jessica, who was still rambling on in a strange voice, and Cannon, who sighed deeply.
Jessie, 人が来てるよ
Jesse,
聞こ
someone's...
えてないの
Didn't you hear? Sorry.
ごめん誰
Who is it? As my friends gathered together, they were looking this way, with the hard-to-describe expressions whispering to each other in small voices that weren't small anymore. My attempt to play dumb felt pretty transparent even to me. Did I really just say, sorry, who is it? Like I don't know who just showed up? It's useless. My mind's going blank.
嘘あれジェシの彼氏
Oh wait, that's Jesse's boyfriend. He's so cute. They think he's kawaii. I like how he shows up. You just knew he was gonna wear like a trench coat or something. This man screams edgelord, and look at what he shows up in. Oh my god. This guy's like, I need to have something that screams edge or emo, and it's like, all right, this jacket will do.
本当に彼氏いたんだ
He's real.
マジ嘘本
No way, seriously? The magic power in the brooch. Of Shannon knowing about Jessica's crush and pestering Kenan. Yeah, the brooch didn't do shit here,
当
man.
ジェシカの裏切り者
Jessica, you traitor.
すっごい
He's
素
incredible.
敵じゃん年下
He's younger.
年下なんて聞いてないよ
Mr. X and Nemesis are the only people who can rock this coat. I didn't say he looked great in it, but you know, he's like 15 and he wants to look at it. Look at the original image of me so scrungly. Hold up. How do I text box drop shadow? Can I change the art in this one dynamically? I don't think I can. I see music, sound, voices, the movies, ADV, the text box, and the drop shadow. I don't see the option to change the sprites. I might have to like relaunch the game if we want to see that. We'll look it up afterwards. He's younger. I never heard he was younger. Where?
ジェシの彼氏ってどこ
Where's Jesse's
嘘
boyfriend?
だって本当
She's really into little kids?
いや遅かったじゃね
she late?
昇降口がわか
I
らなかっ
didn't
た
know
の
where the
で
entrance was.
遅くなって申し訳ございません。
I must apologize for my tardiness.
いや、その格好も似合ってるぜ。
Hey, that outfit looks really good on you.
シャノンが普段着では良くないと言って先日一緒に買い物を。
Shannon said normal clothes won't do, so we went and bought this the other day.
似合いませんでしたでしょうか。
Does it look strange on me? They went out and bought this like this week? That's not true.
シャノン、後で2階級特進。
When I get back, I'll promote you 2 levels. She's into this. She's into this look. She's into this look.
なんだかここは女の人ばかりで居心地が悪いです。
Seems everyone here's a girl. It's a bit uncomfortable.
だよな。
Isn't it?
さ、こうじゃなくてステージの方に行こうぜ。
Let's not hang around here. Let's go to the
もう
stage,
すぐ
okay?
私たちの出番だからさ。
I'll be up pretty soon.
さ。
Come on, come on, come on. Jessica seemed just as uncomfortable. It looked like being bathed in everyone's interested gazes was hard on her. When he saw Jessica's appearance, Cannon thought he might have made things difficult for her by coming.
なんだか迷惑をおかけしているような気が
I
し
get
ま
the
す。
feeling I'm getting in
お
the way.
邪魔だったでしょうか。
Am I being a burden?
そんなことないって。
I told you, no way.
僕がお邪魔でしたらいつでも言ってく
Tell
だ
me
され
at
ば。
any time if I start getting in the way. Calls himself Boku. There's no way you'd get in the way, Cannon-kun. She calls her boyfriend Kun.
僕はどうしていればいいでしょうか、お嬢様。
What would you like me to do, milady?
お嬢で呼ばせてるの？羊元気だこれ。
She makes him call her milady like a butler? OMG, OMG, OMG. It's like Cannon said, he'll fake being the boyfriend but refused to show his face. You can't call me milady today?
そうですか。
Is that so?
わかりました。ジェシカ様。
As you wish, Jessica-sama.
しつけ済みの様付けだ。
She trained him to call her Sama. You refuse the app, you're in mobile browser web desktop website? Ooh, yeah, that's definitely not going to have play in the background. That's fair. Most apps are pretty terrible, honestly. It's like the Reddit app. They intentionally make the browsing experience worse on mobile so that they can push you to use their shitty app so they can track you and everything you press more accurately. I really don't like that. Especially because then you can't read things because you'll go want to read something, you'll Google it because it has a better search engine, and it'll be like, continue in browser or look in app. And if you click continue in browser, it takes you to the main page, the homepage of Reddit, and you're like, fuck off. Don't give me this shitty browsing experience. I don't want this app. It's trash.
ごめん、カノン君。
Sorry, Kenny-kun.
3秒でいいから。
You close your eyes for just like
つぶっててくれるかな。キスよ、キスするよ。
she's gonna kiss him. She's gonna kiss him.
では、すみま
As
せん。
you wish. Bang. Dunk. Bam, bam. Slam. Crash. By the time Cannon opened his eyes, a horrible tragedy had occurred in the room. Everyone had been driven into the walls, their arms and legs outstretched. Jessica had slipped her brass knuckles back into her pocket before Cannon's eyes opened.
とにかくステージの方に行こう。
Anyway, let's go over to the stage.
私たちの出番はもうすぐだから、しばらく席で待っててよ。
Our turn's coming up soon, so take a seat and wait for a bit.
私たちは準備あるからさ。
We've got to get
こ
ready.
の先、突き当たりまで行けば仮設舞台があるからわかるぜ。そこで待ってて。
Go straight to the end here. You'll see a temporary stage. You'll know where to go. Wait there. He pushed Cannon's back as he seemed to be having trouble moving himself and chased him out. Even though Cannon was confused by Jessica's attitude and her panicky state, which he'd never seen before, he followed her instructions and headed in the direction she indicated. The annoying thing is if you use the normal mobile website on browser, it's more convenient and has a comment entry field. But when you try to comment, it says you can only comment in the app. So you have to switch to the desktop side on mobile. Gods, I hate that. Right? It's such a terrible experience. It's like they could totally make it work, but they want to track you, right? They want all your information, and they get more information that they can sell or use to market their product better. So they make the experience worse on browser for mobile users. It's really stupid. Especially because it's like perfectly serviceable, and they're just like, nah, fuck that, use the app. It's really annoying. Really, really annoying. Yeah, after seeing him off, she slammed the door shut and yelled loudly. There you go, you saw, right? You saw, are you happy now? Sucks for you. I lost the bet. Drink up. Alright. I'm sure Jessie didn't have a boyfriend. Are you sure that's what her boyfriend? I bet she's just abusing one of her servants, right? Jessie's boyfriend's incredible. Come on, let's get ready. When Jessica took the brass knuckles out of her pocket again, everyone energetically returned to their tasks. Did I eat enough today? I did eat enough today. Actually, I had a problem with eating today because I was late for a we had one of those annoying meetings that's like really early in the afternoon, which is problematic because I usually eat later lunches because we usually have to work through lunch. If there's anything, if it's even remotely busy at work, you have to work through lunch. So I usually just eat lunch at a later time, but we had a meeting scheduled for that later time, so I actually missed like the first 5-10 minutes of the meeting. I didn't realize I was missing out. Yeah, I definitely ate enough today. Cannon went down the corridor Jessica showed him and ran into a temporary stage set up where the vending machines should have been. It was probably being rented by the hour by some group or club. The ones singing were student groups, but the crowd was still incredibly excited. Disliking the clatter, he leaned against a wall in the darkness by himself. So this is what they call high school. It's noisy. That's what Cannon thought. Then he remembered Jessica just now acting in a way that he'd never seen before. Honestly, she was in such high spirits that alcohol might have been involved. To him, remaining composed and intellectual at all times is the highest virtue. In that sense, it was hard for Cannon to get used to the atmosphere of a school cultural festival. He had a responsibility to report everything he saw and heard to the master. He also had to report how Jessica had acted without restraint earlier. At the very least, it wasn't fitting for the daughter of the Ashiromiya head family. The master, Kraus-sama, and especially Natsuhi-sama, will probably be angry. Time to report it in a way that protects Milady. Should I blame it on inappropriate school friends? What was all that? So stupid. Cannon thought back on how Jessica had acted earlier inside again. He could understand Natsuhi's headache a little now. Come to think of it, Natsuhi-sama, as president of the PTA, the Parent-Teacher Association, was supposed to go to an informal gathering after attending the ceremony in the gym. She said she wouldn't be able to see Milady's performance, didn't she? That's probably for the best. Crowds certainly are unpleasant. What in the world's going on? Several female students kept glancing at me. It seems they're all whispering the same things Milady's school friends said, and it's truly unpleasant. Come to think of it, didn't Shannon warn me? If you walk alone at something like a school festival, you'd better watch out, because lots of strange people will come and talk to you. Excuse me, are you by yourself? As expected, a group of girls I'd never met started talking to me. Their stares started to make my back tingle. Didn't she tell me some magic words that could chase them off in times like this? Sorry. I'm with someone. Really? Yeah. With Cannon never having gone to high school, Natsuhi saying be grateful for your education to Shannon. Yeah, apparently the servants get only go to elementary school. So they have like or maybe they don't get elementary school or high school educations at all. They might get like, I mean, there's a chance that they get, there's a chance their education is done locally at like their house, right? Their orphanage or whatever. I assume you can homeschool in Japan. You're busy with school and finding a job. Ooh, that is really busy. All right, you'll try to drop in if possible. Yeah. All right, dude. Thanks for dropping in for a bit. But yeah, they might not have actually gone to a formal school. They might have only gone to school at like their orphanage or whatever, right? See you when you have time. All right. Good luck finding your job, and best of luck in your studies, my dude. I don't know whether you're graduating university or high school, but they're both really busy times of the year. I can totally understand, although, isn't it October? Probably university then. Probably university then. Good luck, dude. Yeah, so the magic words go away. All right. I'm surprised they might actually have a low-level education, but like we haven't actually seen their knowledge tested. They might just not have gone to the standard Japanese high school. I don't know if attending schools is mandatory, right? Like like in most of North America, you can teach. In most of North America, you can teach up to and including high school at home. You don't ever have to have actually been to a school in person. So they might have had like personal teachers or something like that and learned everything there with a small group of kids from their orphanage. I'm sorry. It worked. Instant reaction. Well, that got rid of them, but it hasn't really changed the number of people staring at me. It's Jesse's boyfriend. No way. It's that kid. I can't believe it. I'm sure he's fake. Isn't he cute? He's younger. Lucky Jesse. There's no way I'll ever come to a place like this again. Cannon sighed for the zillionth time that day. And when he did, the lighting changed and the standing audience started cheering. He looked around and realized there was suddenly a large group of people there, and unlike earlier, they were mostly guys. With this huge crowd, he couldn't even see the stage, and fortunately, there was a fallen beer case nearby, so he tried using that as a footstool. When he did, he realized there was a new group on stage. Their leader is Milady. She changed into stage clothes, and she's even holding a guitar. I didn't know she could play. Then again, maybe she can play. I've seen her practicing air guitar before. Natsuhi-sama wouldn't approve of any hobbies outside of study. Maybe she's always practicing in secret? Come to think of it, she's been returning really late from school recently, hasn't she? Maybe she's been practicing at school, far away from Natsuhi-sama's prying eyes. It really is for the best Natsuhi-sama didn't come. If Milady were to get scolded by Natsuhi-sama after putting so many hours of practice in, she'd probably be dejected. Checks what year. Hold up. I need to check what year something came out. I'm thinking 80s. What are we getting? What year was... Ah, damn it! It's a year off! Ah! I was thinking Master of Puppets came out this year and it was going to be the next year. Because it's not... We don't know what... Wait, we don't know what year it is. Cope. I'm going to cope really hard. Master of Puppets came out and at the beginning of 1986. I don't remember what year it is in this setting right now, but we know it's before October. No, it's October sometime. It might be 1985. God damn it. God damn it. We don't know when it was. I was like, what are they gonna sing? What's she gonna sing? What year is Number of the Beast? That's gotta be it, right? Number of the Beast is 1982. Okay. There's a few good albums out. There's a few good albums out by 1985. Okay. A beer case? Yeah, it's pretty hands-off adults at this school. Yeah, you just noticed that? He's standing on a beer case. That said, they might have just gotten the cases for like something else, right? You get empty boxes. Like, it might be an empty crate or something that they're using to stack stuff. or carry around. It's like you used to be able to get like empty cardboard boxes at the grocery stores for free. So you could use those to carry shit home before they started doing the whole before they started, I don't know, probably recycling them for money or some shit and then make you buy bags. That was what you used to do, right? Alright. Yeah. So if Milady ever gets scolded by Nazi after putting in so many hours of practice, she'd probably be dejected. What's she gonna sing? She's gonna probably play something poppy. What do we think? Some pop? I'm betting pop. Everyone, thanks for gathering here today. I could hear Jessica-sama's forceful voice through the speakers. Jessie-sama? Maybe that's her nickname at school? The students in the audience keep calling out that name. I'm a little offended by the crude name. It's inappropriate for my lady. Jessica-sama was in high spirits as they keep shouting Jessie-sama. Everyone here was probably a fan. Her mic performance picked up on that and electrified them even more. It was almost like a music program on TV. And at first he thought this was all silly, but the feeling had changed into appreciation. It was incredible in its own way. Kanon never listened to music of his own free will, but he often heard the kind of music the Yashiromiya family liked. Since it was almost all classical, Kanon naturally took a liking to that kind of music. So to Kanon, the song Jessica sang was, how do you say it? Extremely colorful. In any case, if Natsuki-sama heard it, she'd probably faint. Oh god, what? What? Everyone looked like they were having a good time. Some diehard fans who even brought pen lights sang along and danced crazily with the same movements, almost as though it had been planned ahead. On the stage, Jessica-sama also sang enthusiastically, dripping with sweat. You couldn't find a single element that was appropriate for a daughter of the Yashiromiya family. We also know what Jessica's wearing, a maid outfit. Or wait, yeah, this is the maid outfit, right? Oh, is she supposed to be Marissa? Is she supposed to be Marissa? It doesn't look quite witchy enough. It's vaguely Marissa. It's hard to tell. I'm not... The hat's cut off. If it's a witch's hat, I'd buy it. If it's a witch's hat, I'd buy it. If it's supposed to be a Toho reference, it's probably Marissa. The red on the back. The red on the back. The red bow on the back. Could be a... Is the red supposed to be a guitar or like the bow from like... Reimu's Shrine Maiden outfit? Yeah, it looks nice, alright. It looks like so much fun. Is this the Toho collab? It is now, I guess. And again today, behind me, the sound of footsteps. Oyashiro-sama is Oyashiro-sama is stalking me. Gee, I wonder what that's a reference to. Curses, disappearances, sacrifices, torture. Onikakushi, does this make a good snack? Don't say Marissa! It is Marissa. It is Marissa! I did ask if it was Marissa, and it is Marissa. No subtlety. Don't say Marissa. And blank screen. I must not go along with it, but... At any rate, Milady is full of life and looks like she's having a great time. As I watched Milady enjoying herself, I thought, could this be Yashiromiya Jessica's true nature? Don't I know better than anyone that drained her life on Rockinjima she has no choice but to kill her sense of self? For the time she spends not as Milady, the successor to the Yashiromiya family, but as a single girl called Jessica, living life to the fullest must be pretty important to her. I worked close to her, seeing her in all seasons, and thought I knew everything about her, but that was limited to one side, the Lady of Rockinjima. We're furniture. We serve on Rokkenjima and end our lives on Rokkenjima. So I've come to think of Rokkenjima itself as our whole world. So, like in Ptolemaic theory, the ocean spilled off the end of the world into the abyss. When I looked at Milady like this, I can see how horribly narrow that outlook is. When I look at Milady like this, I can see how horribly narrow that outlook is. I still can't go along with the excitement of the crowd. But I feel like I can see something that can't be seen on Rokkenjima. I'm not sure if this is the unseeable thing Shannon was talking about, but the ocean still doesn't look blue to me. Is it yellow, perchance? Suddenly, sunset. Suddenly, sunset. The ocean is in fact yellow. Wasn't the cultural festival at Jessica's school today? How's the principal doing? He seemed to be in good health. That's right, Diet member Takamiya was also there. Oh, the 8 episodes of Araki Suzumiya are actually identical. The 6 of the episodes are actually identical, but redrawn. Like, nothing, not only does nothing change, but they intentionally demonstrate that everything is the same except for a teeny tiny bit of RNG. Where it's basically, we're doing the Higurashi thing. Okay, imagine doing the Higurashi thing as Rika, except you just passively watch like 8 instances of the loop go through. Just passively watch 8 instances of the loop go through. Not like you're progressing the plot or learning something new. It's the exact same thing every time. Not like there's... The differences are not different characters dying or someone else going crazy. The differences are sometimes they wear different clothing. That is the only difference. Different clothing or different angle. So they'll always go to the pool on the same day. They'll always do the same stuff. But, you know, one of the characters might wear a pink bikini. And it'll be animated from a shot facing west instead of facing south. Yeah, Kexi does explain it decently well. It is literally the same episode with no changes. It is the most bait thing ever. And it was apparently incredibly unpopular when it aired. Or at least those episodes were incredibly unpopular when they aired, because basically people thought they were being fucking trolled for like the first episodes. You do not need to watch the middle 6 of the 8. Yeah, a micro simulation of what made Rika want to give up. Yeah, but it's even worse, because actually nothing changes. Like, there isn't even... At least when what makes Rika give up happens, like, there is some RNG where, like, different events occur that she hasn't seen before, right? So, like, she's not familiar with a couple of the scenes, because she's only seen, you know, this happened 1 in 10 routes. This is just clothing changes. They will always go to the pool. All these people will be there. They will always go to do their homework. These people will be there. This person won't have done it. Blah, 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 blah. Like, after the first iteration, you know every single event. The second time you see it, you are seeing the same events. And if you haven't memorized them by then, well, you're going to learn them in the next 6 times. Because they happen the same way every time. Yeah, it's the same episode animated in a slightly different way. Yeah. As they say, imagine watching the same episode animated by a different studio each time. The exact same episode, animated differently. So it's not even just similar, it's basically identical. Like, if you gave someone the exact same script, exact same plot, and just had them draw it differently, that's the only difference. That said, the rest of the series itself is pretty good. And, I mean, you can watch the first and last one and basically get the same experience. Yeah, another way to think of it is what if we had... It sounds interesting as an art statement, but horrible to experience on a weekly release schedule. Yeah. It's terrible to watch, but a cool art statement. You're like, oh, this is a great idea. It's also done by, oh my goodness, I just forgot the name of the studio. Isn't that the one that did K-On? It's by KyoAni, right? Yeah, it's by KyoAni, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's by KyoAni. It's not even like it was a bad animation. Yeah, KyoAni's done like a lot of stuff. Nichicho, Nichicho, did they do Clanad back in the day? I know they did K-On! They've done a lot of stuff that's really popular. Alright. So Diet member Takamiya was also there. He said to give you his regards. Yeah, they're a go to the studio. He said to give you his regards. Busy as usual. It appears so. That person's always also very energetic. I believe President Emoto also made an appearance. Naturally, the topic of Jessica's cultural festival came up at dinner. School events often became social gatherings for local volunteers. It was the same for the Ishiromiya family, who are celebrities around here. Natsuhi remembered the name of one VIP after another at that social gathering, telling Krauss the news about them. Jessica didn't really have any interest in the discussion and rudely slurped up her pumpkin soup. Milady, perhaps you ought to take more care with your manners. Yeah. Sorry about that. Jessica. How many times must I tell you to watch your language? Yes, ma'am. Jessica answered, discouraged. When he saw that, Krauss smiled a little and paused his conversation with Natsuhi. Oh, how was the festival for you, Jessica? Oh. It was okay. Oh, well, it was okay. Yeah, that's quite the response. Alright. I was watching. You did an excellent job. Eh? Huh? Well. Jessica's face turned bright red. She probably hadn't imagined Natsuhi would actually come to see her on stage. She felt a mix of happiness and embarrassment, and actually she hadn't really wanted her mother to watch since she didn't want to be told her music was inappropriate for the Ishiromiya family, but it certainly didn't make her unhappy to hear her parents say she'd done a good job after watching her try her best. Jessica acted with composure and dignity. Did you get a fucking report from Canon? Fitting behavior for the student's representative. What? Yeah, sure. The smile that had been there until a second ago crumbled like sand. Jessica immediately realized her mom was talking about something different. Jessica was also the school's student president. She had no interest in doing something so annoying, but her parents had been pushy, so she'd grudgingly accepted. Unfortunately, she was popular at school, so she won the election easily. It's like, it's rough being popular. I won the election. Oh! So Natsuhi was praising her for the student council sponsorship ceremony at the beginning of the cultural festival. Actually, she had just carried that out half-heartedly. After that, she immediately met up with her friends and held a staged rehearsal for the rest of the time. A romance with no serial murder? Boring. The experience of standing above people and bearing responsibility will surely prove useful in the future. I'm sure it will help Jessica mature as a member of the Ishiromiya family. Meanwhile, she's like, I'm in a popular band and everyone loves me. That's probably why, but alright. You rushed a little while giving the greeting. You get a pass on the content, but the fast pace of your speech lessened the impact. It might help if you developed a habit of pausing every once in a while. Sure. Jessica's just like, yeah, sure, whatever. Definitely enthusiastically applying herself to that part. And not the music. After she finished eating, Jessica didn't feel like going straight to her room. Her room was basically the place their parents had ordered her to be, so perhaps for Jessica, instead of returning to her own room, being in an unknown location in this large mansion was a meager form of resistance. Alright. Jessica felt that even being in the mansion made it hard to breathe, so she went outside to the rose garden. You love Fwa time? I do not. Oh, good. Sorry, I just wanted to confirm that Ryzen was the bunny-eared girl. I was like 90% certain it was Ryzen, but I didn't want to just click the character link on Donburu and wild card up what we saw, so I had to take a second to check, and yeah, I'm glad I did, since I clicked Ryzen, and I'm just like, yeah, that's not a pro. I'm like, huh, okay, well, she's naked in checks notes. At least 3 pictures on the first page. Alright. Let's get back to things. Wow, she's really whispering that. Even if she did show up, I'm sure she would have said something about how it wasn't appropriate for a successor of the Ishiromiya family. Isn't it better this way? It's inappropriate for a successor of the Ishiromiya family to be playing Toho games in 1985 via time travel magic. It's a waste of time. Oh, actually, is it a waste of time travel magic? Just get to spend an extra 10 years practicing? The bigger question is where she got the computer to play that from. God damn, it's the 80s. I haven't seen a computer in their house, but apparently she has a computer so she can play and become a fan of Toho? That's quite impressive, honestly, Jessica. Like, did you ask Beatrice for a computer? How did you get this thing? It's the 80s. How'd you get the game and the fucking... How'd you get the game and the computer? The computer is going to be crazy expensive and your parents probably wouldn't buy it for you because they don't do anything you want. And the game is from the future. That's really impressive. Isn't it better this way? Jessica laughed at what she was sulking over. She laughed at what kind of words she could possibly have been expecting. That was dumb of me. In the end, I was just acting like an entitled brat. I'm a little exasperated with myself and it makes me want to laugh. Milady. Don't scare me like that. Just as she was about to force a laugh, Cannon suddenly started talking to her and she choked. What's up? Got something to say? His expression did change there. Yeah? Jessica's expression became the one she always wore when looking at Cannon. The listless Jessica from a second ago was gone. If he had still only known Jessica as the eventual successor to the family, as he had until yesterday, he might have mistakenly thought Jessica's mood had sprung back to normal. That wasn't quite right. He now knew part of her that he couldn't have seen until yesterday, so he understood there was no way Jessica actually felt the way she appeared. Oh, about today's cultural festival. Thanks for coming with me so I could show off. Save my butt out there. That song. You were really good. Huh? Really? You're embarrassing me. You're embarrassing me, alright. Even though she'd heard the words she most wanted to hear. Jessica acted shyly and couldn't accept them openly. I cannot sing. I don't know how to play any instruments other than the harmonica and recorder, which I learned in elementary school. I simply assumed you were the same, milady. At the time, Cannon had never felt as though he'd been looking down on Jessica in this way, but all the people he'd seen playing special instruments were on the other side of the brown tubes in the TV. At the very least, he'd been under the impression that it'd be impossible for Jessica. I'm furniture. I didn't believe there was a need to sing or play instruments, but I'm not sure anymore. There is the Cannon-kun? Enough with that furniture business. Her voice is quieter than the violin. Are you serious? It's like a proper attitude you servants are supposed to have,
使
right?
用人は生きた家具であれってやつ。
Servants are supposed to be like living
レイジ
furniture.
さんがよく口にしてるもんね。
Genji says it a lot.
心得というわけでは
His voice is louder than Jessica's. It isn't just a proper
本当
attitude.
に家具ですし
We really are furniture.
福音の家の子たちがいろいろじい様から援助をもらってるってのは知ってるし、
I know the kids from the Fukuen house receive assistance from grandfather in various
そういう
ways.
恩義を感じてるのも知ってるよ。
And I realize how grateful you are for that.
でもだからって家具なんて言い方はあんまりだぜ。
It's a bit cruel for you to have to call yourself furniture just because of that,
私たち
though.
は同じ
We're all
人間
human,
じゃ
aren't
な
we?
いかよ。カノン君は私が歌ってるのを見てどう思う？
Genki, when you saw me singing, what did you think?
とても楽しそうに見えました
I think the mix for Jessica's voice is bad, and if they had this split out, either in the mod or the base game, I would have raised Jessica's voice's volume, because it's really hard to hear over the violin. It sounded like you were having a lot of
そ
fun.
れは多分違うぜ。
I can barely hear it. I don't think that's true.
楽しそうに見えたんじゃなくて
You didn't just think it
羨ま
looked
しか
fun.
ったんじゃない？
You were envious, weren't you?
そんなことは
That's not... Cannon probably hadn't noticed that emotion himself. Most likely Cannon saw something he'd never seen before, learned about it for the first time, and felt envious. And to trick himself out of the emotion, he called himself furniture over and over and over again.
私は後ろ宮家の後継ぎだかなんだかだそうで、
I know I'm a successor to the Ishiromiya family or whatever.
いろいろな面倒がこれからもあると思う。
And well, I'm sure there'll be a lot of annoying stuff to do from now
それ
on.
については運のない星の下に生まれちまったと諦めるしかないさ。
As far as that goes, I can't do anything but give up, since I was born under an unlucky
多
star.
分カノン君が福音の家で生活しなければならなかったのと同じ。
Yeah, it's really weird to
私
have
たち自身に
Cannon with a louder voice than the brash Jessica. Yeah. She sounds like she's very bashful due to the mixing. Whereas Cannon sounds normal. Like normal or maybe a little bit reserved. But she sounds really nervous or like she's whispering. Probably like you had to live at the Fukuen house. I don't have a choice
生
either.
まれる星は選べなかった。
I couldn't choose the star under which I was born.
そうかもしれません
That may be true.
ただ、私とカノン君では大きく違うところが一点あ
But
る。
there's one place where you and I are completely different. Lucky star? No, we said unlucky star. Know what it is? I'm furniture, Milady is not. He was about to say that, but stopped.
わかりません
I do not know.
カノン君は自らの運命が自分の全てだと思って諦めた。
A Canon Q, and you decided your fate determines everything about you and gave up. Akiramata? That was Akiramata? Or gave up. I guess that makes sense. Since the command to give up was Akira Manasai, right? I think that's the start of one of Space Shards lines, right? The command give up.
私はこんな運命じゃ納得できないから
I can't accept
自
this
分
kind
の
of
思い
fate,
切
so I
り
do
を
the
頑
best
張
I
ろうと
can.
思った。
Okay.
だから後ろ宮家のお嬢様をやらなければならない窮屈な自分と
She's so brash. She was method acting. She threw her mic on the ground and started ranting out her lines. It was a great performance, but unfortunately they didn't pick it up or amplify it enough to rescue it. So well, there's still the rigid and cornered me that's gotta stay as the daughter of the
自
Ishiromiya
分
family.
の好きなことに精一杯の自分というもう一人を作った。
I created another me that can do what I like to the fullest.
もう一人の
Another you?
カ
Yeah.
ノン君は自分のことを家具だからと言い聞かせてきた。
Hankun, you've been instructed to say because I'm
そう言い
furniture.
聞かせなきゃならない辛いことが
I'm sure you went through a lot of tough times because of that.
それについては
I think
本
that's
当に気の毒だ。
unfortunate.
でもそれだけでカノン君の人生を全て決めちゃうなん
The
て
idea that your
私はそんなの悲しい。
entire life is decided by that alone. It just seems sad to me.
人はさ、自分の中に自分が本当に好きになれるもう一人の自分をいつでも作り出すことができるんだよ。
Alright. You know, it's always possible for people to create another self inside them, a self they can truly grow to like.
現実の人かとは違うぜ。
I'm not talking about escaping from reality.
一人の自分でいるとき、私は最高に生きているって実感。
When I'm my other self, I can really feel like I'm living a great life.
普段の日常がどんなに窮屈で退屈でも、私はきっと窒息せずに生きていけるってわけ。
So, no matter how constrained and boring everyday life gets to be, I can always live on without suffocating.
自分の中に
To make
自分が本当に好きになれる
another
自分を
self inside
作
yourself
る
that you can truly grow to like. Make another me, one that isn't furniture. Though through her relationship with George Sama, has Shannon given birth to another self that isn't furniture? Did this other Shannon see something that cannot be seen by furniture? That's right.
さ、
Well,
カノン君のプライベートって
I don't know anything about your private life, Canon-kun. But I can sort of guess.
カノン君のプライベートには多分何もない。
Your private life probably doesn't exist at all. Am I right? Canon couldn't reply, but that was answer enough. He had no concept of a private life, so Canon would always be Canon. Furniture would always be furniture.
カノン君のカノンってさ、
Canon-kun.
本名
Canon
じゃ
isn't
ない
your
で
real
しょ。
name, right? Right? In the Fukuin house, new graduates would be given new families and a new life, so they were also given a new name. And in his case, that was Canon.
確かに僕のこの名は仮のものかもしれません
Certainly, this name of mine may be a temporary thing. Before he thought of himself as Canon and no one else, but he remembered there definitely had been another self that wasn't Canon. It was far away beyond the distant fog of oblivion.
なら、カノン君にもカノン君であるときとそうでないときで違う自分がいてもいいはず。
Even for you, it should be easy or okay to have times when you're Canon-kun and times when you aren't.
使用人であるときのカノン君は自らを家具と呼び、厳しく自己を戒めてるかもしれない。
Maybe when you act as a servant, that Canon-kun calls himself furniture and strictly limits his own will.
でも、
When you
カ
aren't
ノン君じゃ
Canon-kun,
ないときの君はもっともっと自由に生きていいと
I
思
think
う。
it's okay to live much more freely. Those words definitely weren't just lip service. Jessica had also been like this in the past. She had cursed her own birth into an environment different from all her friends at school. Only she had been in a heavily constricted environment, forced to learn all sorts of things, and she'd even been told whom she was and wasn't allowed to play with. It may have been sad, but she had given up, resigning herself to the fact she'd been born under that kind of star. But one day she stopped giving up and surrendering. Stuff like Oshiramiya family customs and pressure didn't matter. She created a real Jessica inside herself, one who could do what she really wanted to do.
私さ、学校ではジェシってあだ名で呼ばれてる。
You know, I go by the nickname Jessie at
だか
school.
らさ、ジェシであるときは自分に思いっきり素直に生きてる。
And when I'm Jessie, I live life honestly and to
だ
the
からこ
fullest.
そ、ジェシカであるときも頑張れるんだ。
And because of that, I can do my best when I'm Jessica too.
カノン君にも、カノンであるときと、
Would it really be so
カノンじゃ
bad
なくて、
if you could also have times when you're canon and times when you're,
本名であるときで、
your real name?
カノンじゃないとき。
When you aren't canon, can you try becoming another self you can like?
僕がカノンじゃない時
A time when I'm not canon. He once thought of his real name as being completely meaningless. Because of that, he'd thought that canon summed up everything about him, and now Jessica's telling him, create something new, another self that isn't canon? A non-canonical canon? That's not canon. Canon-kun, if you don't mind, tell me. What's your real name? He was silent for quite some time. Maybe Canon's real name had risen to the tip of his tongue, and after hesitating for a long time over whether he should say it, in the end, he swallowed it back down.
忘れました
I forgot.
僕の名前なども
My
う
name
どうで
doesn't
もい
matter
いこと
anymore.
です
The words contained a faint rejection.
僕が本当は何という名前であったとしても
No matter what kind of real name I had,
ここにカノンとしてあることだけが
the
現
only
実
truth
です
here is that I am canon.
過去など何の関係もない
The past has nothing to do with
作
anything.
られた家具の材料が 元は何という木の幹であったかなんて。
The materials with which furniture is made, be it a trunk of a tree or otherwise, are meaningless in the end. I don't know, the components matter. People care more that it's a nice... People care more if it's a desk made with a valuable wood than if it's made with a cheap wood. You know, people want their their nice cedars, their redwoods, their you know, you get some cheap wood. You get some cheap wood you found from wherever that doesn't cost anything, or you get some really expensive wood. It's like mahogany or something. You know, people pay top dollar for mahogany, so the fact that it was once made out of a different tree is very relevant. You dropped your keyboard. Ooh. How? Why? That sucks. I told you to stop that. You aren't furniture. You're human, right?
僕は人間じゃない。
I'm not human. Cannon clearly voiced his refusal. It was with a rage that he normally didn't show, and Jessica couldn't say anything back and was struck silent.
お嬢様は人間です。
You are human,
だ
milady.
からどんな生き方をしようとも自由
You are
で、
free to live any way you
どん
please.
な未来も可能性もあ
Any
る。
future is possible for you.
それはまるで翼を持ち自在に空を舞う鳥のよう。
It's almost like you have wings and can dance through the sky like a bird.
でも
I'm not like that.
僕がたとえ鳥に見えたとしてもアヒルに過ぎない。
Even if I look like a bird, I'd be nothing more than a domestic
ア
duck.
ヒルに翼はあっても飛ぶことはできない。
Though they have wings, they cannot fly.
なのに空の夢を語るなんて
To speak to me of that dream in the sky despite that is just
残酷すぎる。
too cruel. Cannon being his emo self here.
家具だのアヒルだの
Furniture and
何
ducks.
てんだよ一
The
体。
hell is all this BS? Yeah. Wait. Jessica had unconsciously gone along with Cannon's forceful manner of speaking, but realized she shouldn't fire back and swallowed her words.
私は君のことを何も知らない。
I don't know anything about
生い
you.
立ちも知らないし、
I don't know your
その苦労
upbringing.
も知らない。
I don't know the hardships you've been
だ
through.
から君がどうして自分を
Well, I can't even imagine why you started calling yourself furniture.
想像もつっても知って。
Yeah, Jessica almost succeeded. She was like 1 or 2 below the DC. Or maybe she needed multiple successes and only got like a partial success. You know, she needs... To convince him completely, she needs like 5 successes. And she got like 4. Feels bad. Feels bad.
君は家具でもアヒルでもない。
Know this, you aren't furniture or a
ちゃん
duck.
とした人間
You're a
です。
real human.
使用人としてのカノン君が家具だと言うなら、それでもいいよ。
If you want to say Cannon-kun's furniture when he's working as a servant, that's fine, but in that case,
カノン君は家具でない時の
can't
人
you
間
create
の
a
時の自分を作ってもいいと
self
思
for
う
when
の。
you're not furniture, for when you're human?
そんな可能性を抱けるのは
Only a human like Milady can
お嬢
embrace
様が
that
人間だ
possibility.
からです。僕はそうじゃない。
I'm not like that.
僕には未来も可
I
能
have
性
no
も
future, no possibilities, and no dream I can see. I'm allowed to
だか
see,
らお
sorry.
嬢様、それ以
Milady,
上
please don't
残酷なことを
say any
言わないでください。
cruel things.
なんでだよ。
Why? Why do you say stuff like
そ
that?
んなことを言うんだよ。
Because it seems you mistakenly think I'm human, the same as you, Milady. Wait, that wasn't voiced at all. That's fucking weird. This is clearly vocal dialogue due to the quotation marks on the left, but there was no audio from Cannon? What?
僕とお嬢様は違う存在。
We are different sorts of beings. That was voiced.
それをはっきり申し上げておきたかったのです。
I just want to make that clear.
シャノンに聞きました。
I heard from
お嬢様
Shannon
は僕のことをお気に入りに
something
なら
about
れている
Milady
とは
liking me. What? What?
あ
What?
僕は人間に限りなく近い姿をしてい
I
ます。
look almost identical to a
だから
human.
シャノンのように自分を人間だと錯覚して
Like Shannon. I could...
恋愛の真似事をすることもできるかもしれない。
So like Shannon, I could probably delude myself into thinking I'm a human and pretend to love for a time.
でもそれは自分を
But I would
騙している
surely
に
be
違いない。
fooling myself.
いえ、お嬢様を騙すこと
I'd
に
be
もなるん
fooling
で
you
す。
too, milady.
シャノンとジョージ様も 必ず破綻する。
Shannon and George somehow will surely fall
その
apart.
日が訪れることをシャノンだって理解しているだろうに。
Even though Shannon herself probably realizes that day will come, she's taking part in such a stupid...
バカだってことはないだろう。
Nothing stupid about that.
そりゃジョージ兄さんは立派な人だし、両親の期待も背負ってる。
Sure, George Nissan's a wonderful person and he's got to match up to his parents'
確かに
expectations.
結婚とかになればエヴァおばさんがいろいろと口出しをしてくるだろうし、まあその前途は
I'm sure when it comes to marriage, Aunt Ava will interfere in various ways, and I think the future prospects look like they'll be full of trouble, okay?
ジョージ兄さんはそんなのに屈する人じゃね
You know what? George isn't the kind of guy who'll surrender to that
え。
shit.
シャノンをジュリエットになんかしねえぜ。きっと幸せにしてくれる。
Shannon's no Juliet, and he'll definitely bring her happiness.
人は家具と恋などできない。
People cannot engage in romance with furniture? I beg to differ. Isn't there a woman who married the Eiffel Tower? Get fucked, Canon.
お嬢様が家具を愛することができても、僕にお嬢様を愛することができ
What
な
I'm
い
trying to
と
say is, even if you can
そう
love
申し上
furniture,
げたいのです。
I cannot love you, milady. A man married his car. A sailor is married to the sea. Come on, Canon, get real. Those words of Canon's crushed by all of Jessica's bittersweet feelings from that day. There was no way her emotions could have predicted she'd be refused so bluntly, and in an instant she lost the willpower that led her to try and unravel something stubborn in Canon's heart. Before she knew it, she was just standing there in shock.
お嬢様が僕を好かれているという気持ちが僕の思い上がりによるものならどうか
If your feelings for me were due to my conceit, I must ask you forgive me. Oh, players are... Fate granddaughter, players are married to the bad odds of life.
まあその
Oh, no, I won't deny that.
ありがとうございます。
Thank you very much.
僕を人間だと思ってくれて
Thank you very much
ありがとうございま
for
す。
thinking of me as human.
そのお気持ちだけで
Those feelings alone really do make
僕
me
は
happy.
本当に嬉しいです。
Your furniture, how can you be happy, Canon?
そしてそれ以上は僕には残酷すぎるか
Anything
ら
more would be too cruel for me, so...
いや
I've said
十
enough.
分だぜ。その
Uh,
悪かったな。
sorry about that, yeah. Jessica recklessly scratched her head and spoke, trying to force her voice to sound bright.
私一人が
I just kind of
先走っちゃって
ran on ahead by
迷
myself.
惑かけたよ。
It was a burden on you.
正直
Sorry, I'm really sorry.
貴重な休みを丸一日振り回しちゃって
Sorry for causing so much trouble on your precious day off.
いえ僕も楽しそうなお嬢様が見られて嬉し
I
かっ
was
たです
happy I could see you having fun.
じゃあ今夜はこれで終わりに
Then
しようぜ。
let's call it a night.
私も部屋に戻って仕事をしないと。
If I don't go back to my room and turn off the lights, Mom will get mad at me again. Yeah, didn't even get to the confession part. Canon just here's a bit from Shannon and fucking shuts it down. That's pretty brutal. That's Canon for you though. And that's this emo boy. Shutting down as hard as humanly possible, the best thing in his life that's ever happened to him. This kid has no taste. Alright, Mom will get mad at you again.
そうされた方がよろしいで
It's
しょう。
probably for the best.
おやすみなさいませ
Good night,
お
my
嬢
lady.
様。
Yeah. Good night. Stop playing the sad strings. Shannon saw Jessica trot away with her back to him, looking disheartened. But then she suddenly broke into a reckless dash and disappeared in the direction of the mansion. And as he watched her back, just for an instant, Cannon was tormented by the feeling he'd just made a huge mistake. But he hadn't made a mistake at all. He'd been forced to refuse her now for her sake, while the pain was still at its smallest.
女を泣かせるとはなかなかやるではないか。
Oh, he's gonna get roasted by Beatrice? Here we go. Here we go. Battler would grope her? Of course. Battler gropes anyone he can get his hands on. Nice going, making a woman cry like that.
お前がそこまで拒絶するとは意外であった。
I didn't expect you to refuse her that
普
strongly.
通に受け答えしていれば わらわの魔法で二組目の恋人たちが生まれていたものを。
If you'd given a normal answer, another pair of lovers would have been born thanks to my magic.
いつからそこに。
How long have you been there?
最低なやつだな。
What a horrible person. When he turned around, the witch was suddenly there, and it looked like she'd been there the whole time, watching the two of them as though enjoying a play.
わらわへの暴言は愉快なる見せ物に免じて特別に許す。
I'll forgive your insults just this once, in deference to that amusing little
男
show.
と女のこじれ合いに勝る見せ物は千年を経ても存在せぬな。
Even after 1,000 years, no more interesting show exists than the complications between boys and
わら
girls.
わにとっては何よりも甘美な
To me,
止め
it's a
られぬ
pleasure.
快楽よ。
Better and more addictive than opium. Oh. Canon pulled the butterfly brooch out of his pocket. It was the manifestation of the great magic the witch had bestowed. Without hesitation, he slammed it against the ground and stomped on it.
ほう
Oh. What's the meaning of this? You know it was given by me.
今、理解した。
Just now I figured
お
it out.
前がしているのは恋のキューピッドなんて洒落たものじ
What
ゃ
you're
ない。
doing isn't as tasteful as being a cupid of
お
love.
前は結ばれぬ者たちに恋を見せてたぶらかして楽しんでいるだけの悪魔だ。
You're just a demon who enjoys showing love to those who can never be together, deceiving them. Better than the opium that I'm definitely not smoking right now, right? Like, I guessed it was an opium. I guessed opium first, right? I'm like, could be tobacco, could be opium. You guys were like weed, and I'm like, dude. 1800s, it's opium. They didn't smoke any weak ass shit. They didn't smoke any weak ass shit in those days. It's opium. They fought plenty of wars over opium. Not many wars fought over marijuana these days, although I guess if you're in Colombia, maybe there's a few. Opium, Sherlock Morbs, yeah. They got a shared habit, okay?
そう思うも自
You're
由
free to think that. And specifically, as I recall, the method of consuming opium that's done by high-class people is slightly less addictive and destructive than the low-class, the cheap stuff, right? I believe that's why you could you could have an opium habit in like Victorian times and not fucking destroy your life completely, but like it absolutely destroyed like India and China. You're free to
わ
think
らわ
that.
が力を貸した人間の多くはお前と同じようなことを口にする。
Most humans I lend my power to say the same thing. I guess she's free to think that.
ほうけるな。
Don't play dumb.
シャノンを哀れんで力を貸したんじゃない。
You didn't lend Shannon your power because you felt sorry for her.
恋に胸を焦がすシャノンの心の隙をついて自分を封じていた鏡を割らせた。
You found a weak point in Shannon's heart as her chest burned with love and you made her break the mirror that sealed you. Whoa, shut the fuck up, Cannon. You just said furniture couldn't feel love like 10 minutes ago. You cannot say you made a weak point in her heart as her chest burned with love if you turn around and say furniture can't feel emotions like love. You're being inconsistent.
しかもそれだけじゃない。
What's more,
その末路まで想像がついていてもてあそんでいる。
you guessed how this would all end and now you're toying with her. Am I wrong?
家具とはつくづく哀れな存在よ。
Furniture has a thoroughly pitiful
夢も
existence.
未来も恋すらもないか。
You have no dreams, no future, and even no love?
よいよい、身の程はわきまえるに限るぞ。
There's nothing better than knowing your place.
ジェシカの心にはお前が察する通り
As you
淡い
noticed?
恋心があった。
As you notice, there's a faint love residing in Jessica's
そ
heart.
なたはそれにハサミを入れ刈り取ったつもりでいる。
You seem to think you've snipped it in the bud.
だが知っ
But
て
did you
お
know?
るか？
Did you
木は
know?
勝手に茂らせたものより枝を間引き剪定したものの方が太い枝をつけるというぞ。
Trees grow thicker branches if you thin out and prune them.
娘か。 シャーノンとジョージもやがては結ばれ得ぬ恋に行き詰まり、わらわ好みの大きな果実を実らせる。
Holy hell, that is an essay of a sentence in Japanese. A girl who loves furniture, is it? Amusing, how truly amusing. George and Shannon will also eventually reach a stalemate with their unfulfillable love, ripening into the sort of large fruit I love.
しかし、いかんせんあの二人はうまくいきすぎていて、面白くなくてな。
However, regretfully, it seems to be going so smoothly for those two that it's hardly entertaining anymore.
そこへ行くと、お前たちは大いにわらわを楽しませてくれそうだぞ。
On the plus side, it seems the two of you will amuse me to no end. The witch laughed. Even though she had known the two could never be together, she'd lent magic to bring them together. However, they couldn't escape the fate that prevented them from being truly joined, and the witch knew that. Even if they were joined, Shannon and George, Cannon and Jessica would eventually break up. They would wander through an endless desert in this hell of love, tormented by an eternal thirst.
わらわがその力を対価なく貸すことがあるとでも？
What, you thought I'd lend you my power and ask for nothing in
恋
exchange?
に手は貸そう。
I'll gladly assist a pair in
その
love.
対価はやがて必ず訪れる二人への過酷な運命の干渉料としていただくわけよ。
In exchange, I'll enjoy watching the cruel fate they'll
こ
eventually
れ
meet.
に勝る見せ物は1000年経っても存在せん。
I've never come across a better show, not for the course of 1,000 years.
金像を見るがいい。
Just look at Kinzo.
恋の味を知り、楽園を追放された哀れな老いぼれの末路を。
See how he ended up, an old pitiful man who learned the taste of love before being thrown out of
死ん
paradise.
でも死にきれぬ、さながら亡者のような生き様を見るがいい。
Look how he lives, like a dead man that cannot truly die.
やはりお前は魔女だ。
You truly are a
消え
witch.
て失せろ、この悪魔め。
Disappear and get out of my sight, demon.
頼まれずとも消えよう。
I would disappear without your
ま
prompting.
だまだわらわには力が戻らぬで
My
な。
power still hasn't returned.
姿を現し続けるのはまだまだ疲れることよ。
Still tiring to continue showing myself.
そなたら恋人たちに力を授けるのに無理をしすぎたのでな。
I think I overdid it when I gave you two my power.
触媒のブローチなしで力を維持し続けるのは今のわらわには容易ではない。
As I am now, it won't be easy to maintain that power without that brooch as a catalyst. Cannon ground his foot even more into the stomped brooch. He felt it break under his foot, and then it evaporated like water, changing into butterflies that sparkled gold, fluttering out from beneath Cannon's foot.
わらわもこの姿を保ち続けるのがちと苦しい。
Maintaining this form was quite painful for me as
しば
well.
しそなたの願い通り
I'll hide
姿を
myself for a
消
time, just as you
す
desire.
満ちぬ潮も月もないように我が魔
Power
力
will
も
rise.
必ず満ちる。
As surely as the moon in the
そ
temple.
して必ずや訪れよう。わらわが蘇るにふさわしい時だ。
And eventually, a fitting time will come for my revival.
それが明日のことか来年のことかさもなくば100年1000年未来のことかは想像もつかん。
I know not in the slightest whether that will be tomorrow, next year, or even 100 or 1,000 years in the
だが
future.
わらわを楽しませてくれる者たちがおる限り、わらわは必ずや力を得て蘇るである。
But as long as there are those who entertain me, I'll surely gain power and
その
revive.
時までしばし姿を消す。
I'll disappear for a while until that time comes.
そなたの手のひらにもはやあざはなく、
The bruise on the palm of your hand is
そ
already
なたが
gone.
望むならば、明日の朝にはわらわの存在など夢か
If you
幻のよう
wish,
に
tomorrow
消し
morning,
去ること
you
も
can let my
できよう。
existence vanish like an illusion or a dream.
忘れ去られることほどわらわに悲しいことはな
After all, nothing saddens me more than being forgotten.
い。だがわらわは
But
必
I'll
ず
surely be
よ
revived.
みがえる。そしてその日がいつ訪れても後悔することのないよう
Be
自
on your
らを
guard.
戒めよ。
You'd best not regret that day is coming when it
わ
arrives.
らわは必ずや再臨し、この島の真の主として全てを支配する。
I will surely have my second coming and rule over everything as this
そ
island's
の
true
時こ
master.
そ再び黄金鏡の扉が開かれる。
That's the time when the door to the Golden Land will be open once again.
欲深な亡者たちが
The
必
greedy
ずや
dead.
わらわを呼び覚ます。
The greedy dead will surely wake me.
くどい。
You talk too
早く
much.
消え去れ黄金の魔女
Disappear now, Golden Witch. The witch became a cloud of gold butterflies and scattered away, leaving behind a scornful laugh. Canon is a distrustful asshole. He might be right that their relationship may not work out. But he doesn't necessarily know that, and he can't see the future. But yeah, I guess do your thing, Canon. I'd at least be suspicious of the magic brooch. That seems fair. Like, accepting gifts from a witch seems really dangerous. The whole area sparkled like a golden blizzard in a snow globe. It was a fleeting, fantastical scene that disappeared in a heartbeat. The witch could no longer be seen. However, Canon felt like he could still hear that shrill, unpleasant laugh.
Ah, 愉快愉快。
She's back? How amusing, how truly amusing.
なぜに久しぶりの人の世はこうも愉快なのか。
Maybe she's monologuing to herself here. Why is the human world still so amusing after all the years I've been away?
恋に狂え、
Go mad
黄
with
金
love.
に狂え。
Go mad with gold.
そのどちらにも狂わぬものなど人間にあらず。
Those who don't go mad from one of the two are not here.
なるほど。故に家具とは言えたり。
I see, so that's why the word furniture is so fitting.
家具は人間に奉仕するために生み出される。
Furniture is created to
そ
serve
して
humans.
わらわは退屈なる千年の慰み者として人間を虐げる。
And I cruelly treat humans as playthings to sate my 1,000 years of
そ
boredom.
のわらわが家具を支配できぬとは、なんとも愉快な三すくみ。
What a truly amusing three-way deadlock that I can't control furniture.
金蔵め、実に面白いことをしてくれる。
Ginzo, you fool, what a truly entertaining scheme you've
家
looked at.
具め、わらわを撃てるか試みてみるがいい。
Furniture, you fools, just you try and see if you can fell
今宵
me.
まきたる恋の種は二
Tonight, 2 seeds of love have been
つ。すでに
sown,
まきたる種と含めて、これで三つ。
including the one already sown. That makes 3.
ベアトリーチェ、なぜ私を一人この苦界に置き去りにしたのか。
Why did you leave me alone in this painful?
私は憎い。これほどまでに恋焦がれているのに答えようとせぬお
I
前
hate you
を
for all
永遠
eternity.
に憎む。
For not even trying to answer despite being yearned for some.
親方様、それ以上のお酒はお体に障り
Master, drinking more will be damaging to
ます。
your
南
health.
條先生からもご注
Nanjo
意を
warned you
受
as
け
well,
て
did he
おられ
not?
るので
黙れ源氏。
Quiet, Genji.
お前には分からぬ。我が嘆きも苦しみも分からぬ。
You don't understand. You don't understand my grief
お
and
前だ
sadness.
けは我が苦しみを理解してくれていると、お前だけは我が最古の友人であると信じているのに。
He's still going on. Is he done? Okay, I think he's done. And I believed at least you, my oldest friend, would understand my
な
pain.
ぜに理解できないというのか。
How can you not understand?
おー、ベアトリーチェ。
Oh, Beatrice.
なぜ私だけを置き去りに。
Why did you leave me all alone? Beatrice. Jessica's crying.
おー、ベアトリーチェ。
The hell do you mean furniture? I don't get it.
おお、おいたわしやジェシカ様。
Poor Jessica-san.
寝室から聞こえてくるすすり泣く声に、私は事情を知りつつも、どうしようもないのでございます。
Even though the cries I hear coming from your room tell me the situation, there's nothing I can
すべ
do.
ては若すぎた二人と近すぎた距離。そして 生まれた家柄が遠すぎたゆえの悲劇。
He's very, very wordy. Alright, this is all a tragedy due to a pair who are too young, getting too close, when the positions of their birth are too
私
distant.
はただただお嬢様のお気持ちを汲み取り、足音を殺して静かに立ち去るのみなのでござい
Okay,
ます。
okay, Kumasawa. I can do nothing but understand Milady's feelings, hide my... She's very verbose, that's the word I'm looking for. I can do nothing but understand Milady's feelings, hide my footsteps, and quietly walk away. I'm surprised she said that out loud. I would have just been like, oh, alright, I guess I'll leave. And muttered to my... I kind of just would have thought that to myself. Kumasawa sure loves to narrate herself doing fucking nothing. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Alright,
それって
What?
どういう意味ですか、
What do you mean by that?
ジョージさん。
George?
言葉通りの意味だよ。
I mean, what I
僕は
said.
まだ自分の城を築き上げてない。
I still haven't built
そ
up
れ
my
ができて
castle.
初めて、僕は一人前になれたと思えるんだ。
Once I manage to do that, I'll finally be able to think of myself as an
その
adult.
時、君と結婚したい。
When that happens, I want to marry you.
それは
That's
その
it.
でもそれじゃあ、もう僕の心が許せないんだ。
My heart won't let me do that
だから、
anymore.
君に婚約指輪を贈りたい。
I want to give you an engagement ring.
婚約
Engagement? So this must be like a month or two before the events of the meeting, right? This must be a month or two beforehand.
ですか。
Engagement?
でもその
What the-
私
I-
家具ですし。
A furniture?
そうだったね。
Ah, right
じゃ
then.
あ、家具は人の言うことを聞かないとね。
Well, furniture has to listen to what people say, right?
今、君に贈るのにふさわしい指輪を作らせてる。
Right now, I'm having a ring made that'll be fitting
多分
for you.
今度の親族会議の日には持っていけると思う。
So, it's in less than a year from the family conference. I think it'll be ready in time for me to bring it to the upcoming family conference.
その時に送るから、どうか君の返事を聞かせてほしいんだ。
I'll give it to you then, so please, I want you to let me hear your answer.
君が僕の婚約を受けてく
If
れ
you
たら、
accept.
僕はその席で、おじい様を含めた全ての親族の前で、君との婚約を宣言する。
I'll proclaim our engagement right there, in front of all the relatives, including grandfather.
ジョージさん。
George.
君と僕の仲をふさわしくないと咎める人たちはきっといる。
I'm sure some people won't approve of our
で
relationship.
も、そいつらの顔を見る必要はない。
There's no need to look at their
君は
faces.
その瞳の中に、僕だけを、
Because you only have to fill your eyes with me.
君を必ず幸せにする。
I'll definitely bring you
それだ
happiness.
けは絶対に約束するから。
That's the only thing I can promise you with certainty. Alright. So that gives us an idea of the time period when this takes place. This takes place probably in the weeks before the previous arc. As clear as
ど
possible.
のように実るのか楽しみでならない。
I can't wait to see how it'll ripen. Aren't you planning on killing me?
群れに過ぎて腐り落ちる果実の液に黄金の蝶たちは舞い降り、
Golden butterflies do not swoop upon the juice of overripe and
今よ
rotting
り
fruit.
収穫の日が待ち遠しい。
I can't wait for the day of harvest to
宴の
come.
時はまだかまだか。
Is the time of the banquet here yet? There's some maniacal laughter. He's still going. The random villain scene with like 2 lines of dialogue. Oh, there we go. A time skip? That'd be a short chapter if it was chapter 2, right? First day, October 4th, 1986. Alright. Alright, and this looks like a train we're on. I can tell because the seats don't look like absolute dog shit and the windows are wide. They're probably going coach. Taking the coach down to the Plane. Place. What do I... Airport. Words. How did I forget a simple word like airport? Oh boy. Alright, they ate breakfast at a coffee shop in the station building. By chance, the inside of the shop had been decorated with Halloween colors since it was October. Maria had seemed to be awfully pleased with that. I mean, she does like witches, and Halloween's a witch-themed event, so that seems to work. That seems like it would definitely work out for her. For quite some time, she talked loudly on the train about wanting to have a Halloween festival without caring that she was attracting the attention of others. How is that bad? Halloween is popular in Europe and America, but people aren't that familiar with it in Japan. Come again? Oh, maybe it's because the 80s. Maybe it's because it's the 80s? I don't know. The shopping district was colorfully decorated with orange pumpkins, but the costume parades of children demanding sweets and saying trick or treat were nowhere in sight. I want a Halloween festival. I don't want to wear these clothes. I want to look like a witch. Hello, the family conference isn't for play. Going to meet grandfather, you gotta dress up nice. She can look like Beatrice. Beatrice is a witch, right? Well, it wasn't completely full inside the train. It was really packed with almost all the seats occupied by passengers. Maria was making a fuss among them, stomping her feet on the seat while Rosa scowled at her. Rosa had warned her many times to lower her voice, but Maria hadn't obeyed at all. Once Maria got like this, no matter how much he tried to explain the situation or calm her, she wouldn't listen. Before, Rosa tried to pamper Maria and give in to her at times like this. But that probably had been a mistake. It's a full month before Halloween. True, it's only one day. Surely, Maria had gained the mistaken impression that throwing a tantrum long enough would make her mother give up and do what Maria said. Rosa realized that error with the help of an educational book, and since then, she'd hardened the part of her heart that wanted to pamper her beloved daughter. Interesting new perspective. Interesting new perspective. Rosa is trying to deal with... Interesting new perspective we get here. That might be less... That's less, Maria is possibly autistic and more like she's super entitled because her mom's given her anything she wants. That's a possibility, right? So if she pampered... So let's think about this. If you give your little kid, whenever they throw a tantrum, whatever the fuck they want, from the years of 3 till 9... and then you read a book that tells you, wait, this is a terrible idea, you're making a super entitled brat. Do you think maybe that might be why she's like being really harsh on her and trying not to let her get away with whatever the fuck she wants? Less autistic and more entitled brat, right? Because that can actually happen to real people. Right? That's why you're supposed to say no to your... That's why you're supposed to say no to your kid, because if they learn that no just means throw a tantrum, they don't end up, being willing to compromise with people and expect everything to go their way when they can make demands of things and expect them to be done. And it's a real concern, so if maybe, she wasn't aware of that and has to start disciplining her kid at 9, it could be, like, really ugly for everyone around her, right? I'm just saying, that's a possibility. That's a good thought, right? Because now we've seen that. It's like, okay, well, you know, some people suggest she's autistic coded and she might just be entitled as fuck because she's gotten her way ever since she was a small child. And her mom has to teach her to accept no as an answer, or accept you're wrong as an answer. Right? In the case of say like Battler saying that witches don't exist, I mean, for the most part he'd be right. He's in the one place in the world where like he would ever be wrong, but for like 99% of all scenarios, And all of everyone's information, including Maria's information at that point, wishes aren't real. So when he says they aren't, and she throws a tantrum, maybe it's not because she's incapable of understanding, but because her mom didn't discipline her. So she thinks she can just throw a tantrum and people will have to. And they do, right? Everyone around her, when she threw a tantrum, immediately was like, "Oh no, wishes are real," right? Yeah, she might be correcting for being too indulgent earlier in Maria's life. But this is a real problem, right? If you haven't met anyone like this, these people do exist. Like little kids that are like way too old that throw tantrums because their parents treat them too nicely. Is a real thing in real life too. An interesting perspective that they specifically inserted here, maybe to make you think that Maria, maybe because they gave you the wrong impression or a different impression of Maria. I mean, I did suggest that she was maybe like a little bit entitled because she seems to be doing that. And this reinforces the entitlement angle rather than the autistic, but like, I mean, autism just says it would be like a developmental disorder that neither of them could really handle. Whereas this says it might just be a parenting issue. Which might be fair, right? I mean, we have to remember that Rosa's also a single parent, right? Right, Rosa does not have two people look over Maria. She's probably working full-time. She's a single mother. So she's probably way overstressed and overworked, and probably just tries to give her whatever she can to shut her up so she can get back to work and like not be fucking homeless or some shit. I mean, she's presumably rich, but she has like a business, right? She's like a CEO, right? She's like managing like a print company or something. I forget what she's running. Hold up, does it tell us in the bio? If we go back to here. No, it doesn't. She manages a design company. Yeah, she owns a design company. It could be both. Yeah, that's true. It could be both. Both is an option. But I'm just saying, like, when you read a line like this that gives you an explicit reason for why the person's acting like that, she realized the error with the help of an educational book, and since then she's hardened the part of her heart that wanted to pamper her beloved daughter. I think there's a reasonable chance it's giving us a solid reason. But yeah, it could be a little bit of both, but like, I feel like it's easier to assume. I think it's probably better and easier to assume that it was a decision you made, or that like, it was a decision that was made and that you can fix, rather than being like, oh, this person's not acting the way I want them to, they're autistic. You have full knowledge, so you can't say so much. Yeah, that's fair. I'm just saying, like, it's not, I don't think it's a good answer. I don't think it's a good answer. Like, a lot of people these days, they'll just be like, I'm not feeling, they'll be like, oh, I had a down day, I'm depressed. And you're like, are you fucking serious? That's not depression. Depression is not 5 minutes of sad. Depression is not my dog died, I'm depressed. It's like a lasting mental issue. Same with, like, a lot of people self-diagnose with a lot of mental issues, or will just like say they're like autistic, or they have like what's it called, Asperger's or shit. Like, they'll self-diagnose that stuff and it's completely wrong. They'll just be like, yeah, like, it's like, yeah, I like, it's like, oh yeah, you like stutter sometimes or something. Like, no, you can't just say that. Just like, you can't just like self-diagnose with like ADHD or something like that and be like, oh, I'm having trouble focus, I'm like ADD. It's like, no, that's not really how it works. So I think it's better to like assume that you have an issue you can solve, and that it could be like, for a child, you should probably assume that too. It's like, okay, I could have done better, or maybe I'm not working. Because like, even if they don't have an issue, even if they don't have like a mental issue, like, you could still just be teaching them in the wrong way, even if you think you're teaching them in a way that you would understand, or you understood as a child, right? Because people do learn in different ways. Yes, there are many variants of depression. I'm just saying, like, there are so many people on the internet that will literally just like give themselves they will claim they have a psychological or mental issue without getting a proper diagnosis. I mean, there are people who, of course, we improperly diagnosed, or people will say they don't, but like, there's a lot of people who don't have sufficient knowledge and will claim they have something all over the place on the internet. And so I think you shouldn't be diagnosing yourself or someone else with that unnecessarily, unless it is very, very, very obvious. And like you could maybe suggest that to a doctor, or maybe get yourself or someone else checked out. But I think it's not a great idea to assume that. Yeah, worst of all, the people who claim it to be cool or different special. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I just say, like, I don't like giving people that. Like, her dialogue seems weird. That might be a good hint. Her dialogue might imply that. The way she speaks, specifically with the oohs, right? That seems a bit unusual. But, I mean, you have to consider this person is possibly super entitled and not really receiving all that much attention from her parents. Unless she acts out either, right? That doesn't mean you can't solve it. It means the solutions might be different. Yes, yes. But I'm saying, like, I'd prefer if you didn't blame, like, your brain being, like, partially, neuroatypical, I guess it would be. I wouldn't assume that you are neuroatypical. I would assume you are neurotypical. Work from there, and then after that, you would move to things that are unusual, because, vaguely speaking, being neurotypical means you would covers a wide range and presumably most people, and then you work from there, right? Hit all of the common stuff. Shitty snowflakes and tuning. It's like always assume the most common case. There are a lot of snowflake cases. There's a lot of special people in the world, and lots of unique special cases that are very rare, of course. But you never assume a zebra. It's always a bad idea to assume a zebra. So this is like a good, like it's like, okay, someone says their leg hurts, they could be having like 50, they could have like 50 horrible diseases, or they could have literally tripped and hurt their knee. Like, you know, do you assume that like an injury, do you assume that like someone bumps their knee if they say their leg hurts, or do you assume that they're having a stroke? Like, yeah, someone could be having a stroke and feeling like improper nerve signals or something, or they could have like hurt themselves. Like, you always go with like the most common diagnosis and then work towards like more specific and obscure stuff. But like, if she's not doing this if she realizes that she's not actually being strict with her daughter and is making them entitled, then if she realizes that that's actually an issue she has, after reading like a simple book or having it pointed out to her, that's probably an issue. Just because like, it's not super complicated to say like, oh, I'm giving her way too much. It's not super complicated to say that. And like, it's really easy to miss if you're just like really busy, right? Her mutual understanding with Maria began to grow weaker and weaker as she began to get discouraged by her own powerlessness more and more often. You don't give me sweets, I'll play a prank. I don't have sweets to give you. You just ate breakfast. If you don't give me sweets, I'll play a prank. If you don't give me sweets, I'll play a prank. A stout old woman who was sitting nearby as Maria stomped her feet picked a candy out of her handbag and held it out to Maria. I got a sweet, I got a sweet. Look, look, Mama. Oh. Happy Halloween! You just accept sweets from strangers, right? Give it back. Don't worry about it. She's such a spirited young lady. How old is she? Maybe there was no malice in the old woman's words. However, Rosa seemed to find that remark extremely humiliating. Haven't I always told you not to accept sweets from strangers? She gave it to me. Oh, it's mine. How many times do I have to tell you to do what Mama says? It's mine. Mine. Don't always tell you not to say you. Here we go again. Here we go again. Oh boy. Making a scene on the train now. Rosa reflexively hit her violently on the cheek. In a flash, Maria started crying loudly. Rosa immediately took the candy from her hand and pushed it back towards the dumbfounded old woman sitting next to them. Please do not just give sweets to my daughter. Sorry. Sorry. Breathing heavily, Rosa once again held the candy out to the old woman. After getting flustered about what she should say for a few moments, perhaps the old woman realized that her actions may have troubled this parent and child, and she accepted the candy back, apologizing. After that, Rosa finally took notice of her surroundings. Her daughter's clothes were all messed up, she was crying and shouting with her nose dripping, and there were many dumbfounded passengers watching them. Except for the sound of the train running, the interior was completely silent. Fortunately, that pitiful silence didn't last more than a short while. However, it was followed by an even more painful atmosphere as everyone began to whisper. Maria shouted, cried, kicked, and stomped her feet as usual, paying no heed to the people sitting around her. Impulsively, Rosa wanted to slap her again, but she noticed the cold eyes of the people in the train and couldn't. When the train stopped, Rosa forcibly pulled Maria's arm and got off, almost dragging her daughter along. Maria didn't stop crying. Rosa took her to the end of the platform and hit her cheek again. At the moment she was hit, Maria stopped crying for an instant, but before long she shouted and cried even more than before. Overwhelmed with emotion, she grabbed the nape of her neck and dragged her, tugging at her hair. Mom, it hurts, it hurts. Didn't I tell you to shut up? That ooh of yours. I told you to stop. That's the reason you can't make friends in class, right? Get a hold of yourself. Why are you still a kindergartner inside your head? Why can't you do what Mama says? Why? Why? With those severe words, Rosa hit Maria's cheek over and over again. The more Maria cried and shouted, the more Rosa hit her. And the more Maria was hit, the more intensely she cried and shouted. Mama, it hurts. Mama, it hurts. Mama, save me, save me. Why can't you stop saying ooh? Exactly why you can't make friends. That's why Papa's business trip never ends. This is why it... Excuse me, ma'am. Is everything alright? Do you want something? The one who timidly called to her was a station attendant. Rosa glared at the attendant with a look that said, "Don't butt in into the problems of a mother and child, stranger." Of course, the attendant surely hadn't wanted to get involved in either, but Rosa had been yelling on the platform for a much longer time than she imagined. Her emotional scolding had led to the passengers on the platform to advise the attendant to call out to her. Rosa yelled at the attendant, saying not to worry anymore since they'd get on the next train. And then finally, or rather for the second time, she noticed the passengers on the platform staring at her from a distance. Rosa sweat slightly and felt the breeze make her sweat go cold, tormenting her. Maria kept on crying, shielding her own head. And of course, if this beating continued, she'd probably keep crying indefinitely. I did it. Again. As the terrible heat in Rosa's head faded, she knew she'd surrendered her soul to evil again. Mama, come back. Rosa fell to her knees and hugged Mari, whose face was soggy with tears and mucus. Mari, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Welcome back, welcome back. Finally, Maria realized her mother was her mother again. She clung to her mother's body and cried, burying her face in her mother's chest. Forgive your bad mama. Forgive your bad mama. Okay. I'm sorry. Alright. Please don't hate me. Well, alright. That's gonna get you nowhere. So, conclusion. She threw a tantrum, got slapped, threw a tantrum, got slapped, and then her mother apologized for slapping her and said, you're supposed to be throwing all the tantrums you want. That's a pretty bad conclusion. The appropriate I think the appropriate response would have been to not slap her and just let her wail for like 20 minutes until she stopped, which is usually what you do for literal babies. But, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. It's quite the level. Alright. I'm just fine. Yeah. Won't hate mama. Mama was only being possessed by the bad witch again. Came back, so I'm just fine. Right. Right. Okay. Mama was just being possessed by the evil witch again. I'll press X to doubt that one. Sorry. For a long time, the two of them hugged each other, asking for and sharing words of forgiveness. After a while, they calmed down and both moved back at the same time. Maria and Rosa's face were deep red after crying their eyes out. You want a Halloween festival, Maria? Guess she gets her Halloween festival too. Interesting. Yeah. I want to show the pumpkin marshmallows to George, Oni-chan, and Jessica Onea-san. Alright. It was a candy they'd been selling near the cash register at the shop where they'd eaten breakfast. A fancy sweet that had a big orange marshmallow in the shape of a jack-o'-lantern attached to the tip of a stick. Maria wanted it and had insistently pestered Rosa for it. She'd refused, saying there's no way she could buy sweets right after breakfast. And that's how we got here. That's how we got here. Yes. The appropriate thing is to keep refusing, not alternate between giving her what she wants and being violent. Yeah. That's the problem. See, Rosa's read that she has a problem with discipline, but she's not actually solving the problem. So, by saying, no, you can't have your sweets, her child throws a tantrum. Her child throws a tantrum, she yells at her to shut up and slaps her. She continues screaming, so you slap her again. And then at the end, you apologize for slapping them, and then give them the candy they threw a tantrum for in the first place. Basically saying, like, if you throw a tantrum, just keep throwing a tantrum until you get what you want, is like a pretty bad system. You need to be more calm and more firm. That's probably her struggle. I mean, I don't actually know how long this has been going on for Rosa, though, right? She might just have noticed the problem because this is like the first time she started now. Like, presumably Rosa is the CEO of a publishing firm? Should have to check this again. In one ear, out the other, I swear. Design company. She's the CEO of a design company, so she has, like, I don't know. And she's from a super rich family, so she's got, like, she's easily making, like, she has, like, hundreds of thousands of dollars just kicking around. Probably owns her own house and shit. And she's super busy all the time, so she probably just buys her whatever she wants. And if she, like, recently read that book and is just starting saying no for the first time, that's gonna be really difficult. Especially because her child's gonna, like, I don't know how long it's been wearing her down, right? It's hard to say. We don't know enough. But both cards are still on the table. That said, Rosa is definitely a little bit too violent. This is like the second time I've seen. And this is on the trip, right? This is on the trip. So, like, this scene is happening, like, the day before or same day as the previous violent outbreak in the first arc, presumably. I think it was the next day. So, like, I can totally understand having, like, no breaks because she is, like, a single mother, but it doesn't have, like, any time to recharge, adding to her stress every time Maria's not acting good. Because she can't just be like, I need a break. She can't just be like, I need a break. I need a break. Can you watch the kid for like a week? If it's like she has a breaking point here, and then she has to take you all the way to this conference, and then also manage you with like literally no breaks in between. And remember, the conference is not a fun conference. This has got to be like one of the shittiest, most stressful conferences. Like, as you recall, Natsuhi, I'm not gonna look at that. Natsuhi literally like broke down crying in the middle of the discussions. Like, these are not relaxing discussions. These are discussions that are gonna fucking mentally break you. And, like, Natsuhi fucking leaves crying, and like she has to deal with Miss Venomous Ava. Like, this is gonna be fucking miserable, right? Like, imagine you have to go through like these really hellish interactions with all your siblings who are like literal fucking vipers, and then you have to deal with your stupid daughter. Man, that would be fucking hard. She really needs someone else in her life to at least take Maria off her hands for like the evening so she can lie down. I guess maybe that's what happens when she gets really fucking stressed out. Like, instead of having like those crazy headaches that Natsuhi has, presumably from stress, she gets physically violent, but she can't actually leave the area because like there's no one else who can manage Maria, right? So like a sensible person is like, if you're in like a relationship with someone else, a sensible person is like, I need to get out of here, and just like, can you take care of this? And then presumably she gets to calm the fuck down in another room and then act normally. But she literally can't do anything else because she's the one who has to do all the management too. Which probably doesn't help. It also doesn't help that, as we recall, she, despite being relatively financially conservative and making money, is like, got fucked over by one of her friends and is hugely in debt now. So she's got like some serious financial woes. I feel for Rosa. I don't feel like she should be like hitting Maria all that much, but man, like I don't think she should be doing it, but I kind of understand why, even if it's like a bad reason. It's like, these are reasons why you do this, but it doesn't mean you're doing a good thing. Like, you can understand why someone would kill someone else, but it doesn't necessarily mean like you're supposed to kill them, you know? It's like, yeah, I see why you did this. It's a rough story, but you're still not you still shouldn't have done it, but I can understand why it happened. Understanding, but not agreement, you know? Then Maria.
この町に売っているかどうかわからないけど、降りて探してみようか。
I don't know if they sell those in this town or not, but let's get off and try searching for them, alright? Yeah.
ママ大好き。愛してる。
I love you, Mo. I love you so much.
ありがとう。私もよ、マリア。
I'd just like to point out that Maria did not use ooh here. Let's see. Yup, she didn't use ooh here either. Just pointing that out. Alright. I think we need to watch where that's happening and when that's happening. The truth was, they didn't have time to waste loitering at a stopover station. If they missed the airplane, they'd fall half a day behind schedule. She should have left home with more time to spare, but she ended up leaving late after choosing Maria's clothes. Because of that, Rosa had been a bit impatient since the morning. She looked at the clock. They had to get on the next train immediately, but her daughter firmly joined hands with her to go buy the sweets with her mother, and that hand was warm. To Rosa, as she was now, it was more important to renew her bonds with Maria, and to her, Maria was not only a beloved daughter, she was everything Rosa had. Fortunately, they could see a big supermarket right in front of the station. They might not be able to find exactly the same sweet, but Maria probably would be happy with a similar one. Besides, Rosa couldn't show up with a face swelled from crying. She must fix her makeup.
あれと全く同じマシュマロは見つからないかもしれないけど、似たようなお菓子があるといいね。
You may not find a marshmallow exactly like it, but hopefully we can find something like it.
いとこのみんなを一緒に驚かそうね。
Let's buy some and surprise you all your cousins together.
ママと一緒に買うお菓子なら何でもいい。
As long as we buy it together, any sweet's fine. They exited through the turnstiles of the station in this unknown town. Maria walked across the pedestrian crossing together with her mother, chuckling to herself as though she was walking in an amusement park. Both faces were still deep red, but the two of them, mother and child, smiled warmly at each other without restraint. No issues finding the candy, apparently, since it's scene end. Interesting.
あなた
Here we are. Alright. I assume they have no further troubles, or that we've seen them all. But I guess we have an idea of how Ava and Maria are doing, which means we're leading into the second scenario. We've done the prologue, and we're diving into the thing proper, getting a few extra angles as we approach the first meeting, and diving into the more serious stuff as we go. I think the lead-in will be a bit faster. There won't be as much... once everyone meets up, there won't be as much stuff before the murders start happening. That's probably how it's going to go. Alright, but that means I think... getting late. We've been going for a few hours now. I think it's appropriate that we stop here at a big scene change.